I didn't hit the music. Hello, Twitch, and hello, Internet. Welcome to, to all those who seek adventure, justice, and big damage numbers that come out of the enemy's head. Welcome to Knights of New Avalon, a beacon odyssey, and the only NLR game with a sprint button. Before we do anything else, let me introduce my amazing players and beacons. We're going to be starting with, let's say, Foxy.
Going on, folks? It's Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite Fox Billy Finest, and today I am incredibly happy and prepared
to reprise my role as Kana Alba, the Orient Cavalier. Just the littlest guy with the mostest swords. It's a great time, and I can't wait to do more of it. Yeah, that's all I got. Take it away, Tate.
Yeah. Let's have up next. I don't have the screen up. Let's have Egg.
Hi, it's me, Emily or Egg-chan, and I am playing Haze Yoon, Sapphire's Glare, the Cambion Gravewalker, and I'm excited to be Chinese as fuck today.
All right, perfect. Essie, how about you go next?
Hi everybody, I'm Essie, and I am not in character cosplay today because I am powering through it, and I don't feel good, but I'm doing my best. I'm here, and I've got my blahage, and I'm snuggling my blahage. Yeah, because my tummy is upsetting
How you
spaghetti.
supposed to pronounce that? I always heard it blaha.
It is like blaha, but I mean blahage just sounds nicer to me, so
Entirely
it's wrong.
It's your blaha.
Yeah,
You can call it what you want.
This is Miss Spidey. But
Perfect.
yes, I play Maeve. Both of our pronouns are she, her, sometimes they. Maeve is the Night Terror, and she is a resistance fighter from a different realm. And my brain is foggy today, so yeah, I play Maeve. She's an Equinox. I only have half of the brain working, so take it away, someone else.
How about Lucian?
Hey, I'm Lucian. I'm playing Cam, a resident fisherman. Who cares about, his class, because there's definitely not going to be any combat today, Yeah, looking forward to dressing up and being all fancy. Because that's definitely what Cam does, very often.
Sometimes it's better to step on rakes and do the thing your character is not good at. Last but never least, take it away.
Hello everyone, I am Chouse. I'll be playing Ajax, the Trailblazer, our Machina gunslinger, unparalleled in precision and doing the dishes, because Ajax conquers Greece.
Yeah, perfect. I was waiting for that joke as soon as you named him Ajax.
I need you to go,
so
actually.
unfortunate?
I need you to go right now,
All right.
actually.
We will not be having Ajax in this session.
It's actually so unfortunate that I did not realize that I could do that joke until like 3 days ago.
Perfect. Because, you're stronger than all of Greece because you're Ajax. Anyways, those are my lovely players, and I, of course, am Tate Washburn, the person who's playing literally everyone else in the many fractal realms in our setting. Speaking of, I'm going to change music. Last time on Knights of New Avalon, our beacons were invited to the Magnolia Realms, specifically by one of the mayors of one of the 5 petals of the realms. These realms are often in debate about what they do, as they are sort of 5 separate governments tied together by a single realm crystal, and several of them wish to separate. After visiting the realms and seeing the sights, our party, led by Jasmine Fawn, was brought to her parents, Craig and Willow Fawn, Willow being the Madam Mayor of the Lush Petal. I have to keep scrolling through my notes to make sure I have all this right. However, while that was happening, one of our beacons, unfortunately, was caught up in the most dreaded thing you can run into in the many realms, bureaucracy.
The DMV.
A little bit. It's more like customs. And so I think that's...
Same thing.
what is customs if not the DMV for airplanes? Anyways,
Yeah.
so you were there with Anselm, and there was just a lot of paperwork and a lot of we promise that Maeve isn't going to sucker punch a politician. That it's fine, just here for the party, just here for politics. It is just because we're invited. And eventually, you managed to make your way into the actual Magnolia Realms, the Lush Petal, and I think that's where the scene sort of begins. Is a you are being brought here on sort of a living airship. It has more of a hot air balloon setup, which your home airship doesn't have, and everything on it is still lush and thriving as it sort of flies in next to a walled garden with several buildings that you don't recognize, but Anselm, who I don't think you've seen him this irritated before. He's hiding it very well, but you've spent more time with him than most, and he's gently tapping his foot, hands behind his back in very like military position as you land. He's finally.
You don't like politicians either, huh? Or customs? I don't like any of them.
They feel like wizards, but even less direct.
Yeah, that's not the thing I wanted to deal with. Especially with not feeling that well. I'm gonna play it off in character.
Yeah.
So,
Do you imagine it's allergies, or is it something like Maeve 8?
probably that. Cause same.
Uh-huh.
She's like,
It's like
she'll probably. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just imagine Anselm's like, I told you that hot dog stand did not pass muster. That didn't look good.
Yeah. I'll have to listen to you next time. We take what we can get where I come from, so a hot dog stand like that is usually pretty high quality, and it's usually the corporate stuff that has all the chemicals in it. Other way around here, I guess. Thanks for the warning. You tried.
Well, I don't know that we have corporate stuff in either place, but
Sort of like
Hope you
the
recognize
Council
those.
of Wizards, but they're running everything. The businesses, the food regulation, which makes it less regulation, which means that the food is full of toxic
Mhm.
chemicals, and it's just a nightmare.
you're having this conversation as you approach the front gate door, which opens on its own, and he's like, "That sounds terrible. I trust wizards to do magic, not make a good pastry." As it opens,
Greed is a
there's
hell of a thing.
Yeah. As it opens, the Magnolia Realm smells great, like all of the time. There is a scent of various flowers. It's never overpowering, but it's like every place you go has a different sort of floral scent or various fruits. I think that Maeve would notice in particular, the main streets that you have seen as you fly down have fruit trees in them that you can just pick. You just see people picking them casually. It's like not a problem as far as you can tell. There's no one like guarding them, which is probably extremely bizarre to her.
Yeah, as soon as the gates open, she'll just like sort of stand there, like jaw on the floor. Like, I think she was smelling like the gardens and everything, but I feel like New Avalon has probably some gardens and some trees along the street, so it's not something that would be a total shock. But then opening the gates and seeing everything just unfold and how the scale of how green everything is and the fruit trees, she would probably just like, by the way, are we already in our garden party formal attire?
Not yet.
Or are we going to get changed into that? Okay.
You're gonna get changed. Yeah, the garden opens and it has like a nice pond and several trees, and I do think at the front of the gate there is like, they probably have raspberries and like some kind of citrus that looks like an orange. It's right there, but inside you see your 4 other beacon friends, as well as 3 other campions that you do not recognize, but you would assume, because this is the Fawn household, are you've been briefed as Willow Fawn, Craig Fawn, and Jasmine Fawn, the Madam Mayor, her husband, and her daughter. And you guys, the 4 of you, see the gate open behind you and see your friend Maeve.
Friend Babe, hello.
Hey,
Hey, sorry, I ate something bad.
Ugh.
And we got stuck at customs. 2 hits in a row. But I'm doing my best. Can she have like a to-go cup of hot tea or something?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think
like a
the-
jumbo tea.
Yeah, because I think the bad hot dog stand was definitely at like the New Avalon side of the equivalent of an airport, and it was
Yeah.
like looking back, you're like, yeah, that cart didn't look well maintained. Maybe that was
Wait,
the
an
sign.
airport hot dog? You're braver than Trent.
Effectively.
You're braver than
Airport
US Marines.
sushi, New Avalon hot dog.
I was hungry.
Yeah,
Hey, there's a
but when
whole
you
thing. I
arrived in-
explained it to Aslam. I'll explain it
Okay.
to y'all later.
Yeah, but I think that when you arrived in the Magnolia Realms, you went to a much more reputable looking stall and got this nice tea that is helping keep the hot dog down, you could say.
I think Kana steps forward a little bit towards Maeve and kind of just like, well, I'm glad you are here, and I hope you eat better things in the future.
Thanks. I might. Is this fruit? Are these all like
Kana will turn to Hayes
Corporate
as the only expert or at
people
least
that are
relevant
eating the
person
fruit?
knowing
Well,
about this.
I think Jasmine actually stepped forward to introduce herself. She is like sort of a very light, gentle green skin tone and has flower patterns carved into her horns that are sort of shaped similar to Haze's in a sort of mostly straight, lightly curved backwards. She's wearing not a fancy dress, but clearly like one of high quality, these robes, and she steps forward. It's like, you must be Maeve. You are very
Yeah.
welcome to the fruit. My name is
Oh.
Jasmine, and I'm your, let's say, liaison while you're here.
she'll hold out a hand to shake.
Yeah, it's a very polite, like gentle handshake.
She'll like just move the hand pass and do like the arm handshake for like siblings,
Okay.
and then just like do like a firm one, and then like do the push down and.
Uh-huh. I think you're surprised that Jasmine seems to go with it so smoothly. Like, she's
Okay, yeah.
clearly someone who knows how to deal with people with very different cultural customs and just like rolls with it almost immediately. Then-
Kana, who is an idiot, will like look to the side of them and look directly at Maeve and just go, "Isn't she pretty?"
Yeah, very much so.
Oh, you're too kind, Kana. And I would like also, Maeve, as I have introduced your friends, I'd like to introduce you to my parents, Willow and Craig. Willow being our Madam Mayor. And yeah, the two figures behind her. Craig is like a sort of rich, like woody brown skin tone. He has like ram's horns. He seems solid. And I think to your magical senses, he feels as solid as a mountain. He is earthy and vibrant to your magical senses, where Willow has sort of a sort of purple pink skin tone, more like gently elegant carved horns with gold bands in them, and she feels I don't know, she feels vibrant in the way like a rose bush is, of something that is beautiful and growing, but definitely sharp to your magical senses, to all of you. Which Willow steps forward in front of her husband, and it's also nice to meet you, Maeve. And thank you all for coming. We desperately need your help.
Does the would the airport have had? No, they wouldn't have had. So in
Mhm.
it's customary in Maeve's culture to like present some kind of a weapon to the leader, and she would have done everything she could to try and find something simple, even if it was like ceremonial and not dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
At either, and that actually might be a partial reason that they got held up in customs. Like yeah, you know, like swords that aren't munitions grade, they're just like
Yeah.
dull.
Decorative, yeah.
Is there any way Ansem would have been able to
swords?
like get in something like that for like a cultural? Because I assume we wouldn't be able to bring in actual weapons other than what we have on our
You're allowed.
person.
I think you're allowed. It would definitely be one of the things they questioned you on, and you probably asked Ansem,
Okay.
like, was that a problem? And he's like, they would have held us up anyways. This is politics of them pressuring us, the knights, to say, did you check this person is sane? And we're like, yes, they're going to be
So-
fine.
So if it can be any weapon, then I will to the mayor.
The definitive
can you-
one, we'll say.
yeah. Okay. Can you describe the mayor again?
Yes, she is pretty average height, like sort of pink purple skin, dark black hair. She has curved horns with gold bands, and again, she feels vibrant and sharp
Yeah.
to your magical senses.
Okay, I will just sort of like walk right up to the mayor and just do like a very subtle like head nod and deference and say, I can see that you run a well-respected town, a well-respected bastion here. The people seem very happy and it's beautiful and gosh, you're really pretty. Also, it's custom where I come from to present an ally with a weapon, something they can use against their enemies to fend off, trying to put this in a general term, oppressive interests. And she'll take out the sort of ceremonial dagger. I really tried to find one that had serrated edges, but Anselm said we wouldn't get it through customs. So I tried to find the most practical one. It is as sharp as I could get it.
Yeah, Willow, much like her daughter, a very polite, like, oh, that's very kind of you at the mention of her being pretty. And she seems to wave her hand, and it's like the dagger itself lifts up as you see her animate it into her hands. It's like, and thank you for this symbolic gift. I'm sure the next time you visit us, you will not experience the same level of scrutiny. A bush.
Said you
Sorry,
need help.
Yes, she puts the dagger to the side. A chair that was like on the porch behind her moves itself for her to put the dagger on, and then moves back. And she's like, "Our realms, or the Magnolia realms, have always fought, which is maybe not the right word. We have always debated vigorously our connections, our politics, our economy. And there's always been some discontent about that, but recently there has been less talk and more action on that line." And she sort of pauses, and you as beacons are symbols of unity between all realms. And I'm hoping that you can at least help convince those who are on the fence that we are better together than separate. As you've mentioned, our very vibrant realm, our very vibrant city, much of that is due to our realms being both fractured and unified, and I don't believe separating will be a good idea.
Understood.
What time of year is it, by the way?
Here it feels like spring. It's always difficult to do seasons between realms. Like New Avalon feels close to like autumn, but here it's very clearly spring. Or at least it's vibrant enough to be spring. The weather seems to be like cool but warming up. There's definitely been like a smattering of rain, but it's pretty light.
Maeve will probably have a little bit of an allergy flare up too, because she lives in like this toxic,
Oh yeah,
like
it would be
toxic dump,
sterile if it
basically.
weren't for the pollution.
Yeah. And we'll probably just, I'm sorry, my nose is really stuffy and probably sneeze a few times. My eyes are watering, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not used to
the
so
tea will
much
help.
green. It's really, oh, it's good. I only took a couple sips. It will?
drink more. Yes.
Oh, okay.
A common problem for those from New Avalon, in my understanding, is you are from a farther afield and less vibrant city than that. And she turns to the other four of you. It's like, but please, I hope that you can help us bring some of that unity that you five seem to have.
Indeed. Mayor Fawn, is there any particular guest who you would like us to speak to at the party?
She considers for a moment, and it's like, well, I can definitely give you a rundown of the various mayors of the other petals that will be most critical. And I think the most critical people for you to be aware of are not the ones that you need to talk to. And she sort of gestures again, and different, like a table that is out under a tree, again, sort of like with its feet walks its way over, and there is a chart that she has placed on this table, you assume. There are 5 petals, and in each, it's the sort of symbol of their realm. And in each petal, there are several names. For the prosperous petal, she's like, you don't need to worry. They're our allies. You do not need to interfere with what they're doing. They will also be talking to various important industrialists and people in charge of food and production and art, who I need you to talk to. And then she points to the, let me make sure I have this. Yeah, the Madam Mayor of the Lush Petal, which I have here. Apologies, I'm trying to go through my notes.
Wasn't Willow the mayor of the Lush Petal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where we are,
No,
right?
then I have put them backwards. Yes, you are in the Lush, the Prosperous. If I looked at the recording, I might have actually got those reversed in the last one. So, whoops.
Oh, frick.
Happens.
I think you guys are actually in the Prosperous Petal. My apologies.
Not a problem.
Oh, okay.
Now we know.
Let me swap these names.
Okay.
Yes. So the Lush Petal, Nimbus Zhao is who. She says you don't have to worry too much about Nimbus. She is our ally. She is quite capable as a politician. But yeah, then points to the mayor of the Radiant Petal. It's like Patience Fang. Patience Fang, she says, gives you a short description of a draconic woman with sort of azure blue scales and a braided black mane. Says, Patience is possibly the loudest voice for separation. It's difficult to get a read on her. She's quite coldly polite, is how I would describe her. She has convinced the Vibrant Petal that we need to separate.
She's been the main advocate
Yes.
for the separation? Okay.
Yes. Also, let's see. And I swear I had. Yeah, she's been the main advocate. She points to the Vibrant Petal, and it's like, you won't have to worry about them. That's who I'm handling. And it says, the other mayor that I do want you to talk to, that I will also be talking to, is most critical, is Dusk Lao. He is gives you a description of a Cambion man with sort of ruddy red skin, and he has very hooked horns.
Also of the Radiant Petal?
Now, this is for the Bountiful Petal, is who she's pointed to here. Yeah, the mayor of the Bountiful Petal, he seems genuine, and he is most concerned for his people. It seems less to be about politics and more to be about their well-being. But he does seem on the fence. The Bountiful Petal is not prospering as much as we are at the moment.
And their name again? Sorry.
Dusk Lao.
Dusk.
Whispering. And so Nimbus Zhao is the mayor of the Lush Petal.
Yes,
We
and he's
are
on the
in,
other side.
we are
You're
in
in
the
the-
Prosperous Petal.
Yes,
Who is the mayor of the Prosperous Petal?
that's Willow.
Okay, Willow, okay. I wrote that down wrong last time. Cool.
Apologies, I have my notes here, but I might have misspoken previously or this time. Well,
Oh,
it'll come out in the watch, don't worry about it.
Same difference. As long as I'm in line. I'm tracking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry. My page was refreshing, and I
Mhm.
couldn't get it to refresh fast enough. We're at the Lush Petal.
We are
You're
in
the
the
Prosperous
Prosperous Petal.
Too many petals. Okay.
And we are allied
Prosperous.
with the Lush Petal.
Yes,
Or the Prosperous Petal is allied with the Lush Petal.
yes.
And these are the petals are the names of the realms.
Yeah, the names
Or
of their
the
5 realms are
Okay.
the Lush, the Prosperous, the Vibrant, the Radiant, and the Bountiful.
Okay. And the mayor of Lush Petal, who I presented the gift to, is
Prosperous Petal.
Willow Fawn.
Willow Fawn.
Willow, yes,
Fawn,
and Prosperous.
I'll put my notes
Prosperous.
in the chat.
Thank you both so
Yeah.
much. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I got the
like,
spinning
especially
wheel.
you weren't here last time.
There's a lot of names.
It is complicated. I have made a complex
On the
political
chicken.
situation.
Complex situations are complex and difficult to understand. What?
Right.
What?
I'm a note taker,
I am attempting.
but my notes are always hard to read because I use so much shorthand. So
Yeah. Okay, we good on those names because there's a few more of you might want to know, but I don't want to overwhelm you guys.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Give me what you got, Tate.
I have the Word document up now officially.
Yeah. Willow does say, like, those are the politicians that you really need to know so far, and I have more names, but of, like, the people you don't have to care about as much. But does point to, it's like, now, two important people when it comes to the practical side of what they are planning on doing are Vanity Nua, described as a gray-furred beast folk, has, like, very striking yellow eyes, and is an expert spirit shaper who believes they can separate the petals safely. Willow describes him as like he is a cynical mage, you might say, and fancies himself a historian. And then also someone from actually your home realm gesturing to you, Hayes, of New Avalon. We have a Gregory Alforti. I wrote this name and I'm having a hard time pronouncing it. Alforti. It's described as a dwarf wizard from New Avalon who is also helping with like the technical process of separating them. And she says, I know very little of him, but Vanity seems to agree with him, or at least respect his opinions. Right. And that's the names. That's the names that you need to know.
I put Gregory's doctorate dissertation in a plagiarism checker. That shit lit up like a Christmas tree. I'm not muted.
That was so good. I'm so glad. You
No,
were
that was so funny.
Not muted.
Legitimately, Ajax could have done that. If we want to make that his backstory now, I'm here for Ajax, like...
I feel like Ajax would have like absolutely said that like to themselves, but definitely heard by people next to them.
Suspected ChatGPT user.
I'm sorry. First thing I say in character, immediately thrown off.
I do like the idea that that's probably like the most colloquial thing that you guys have heard Ajax say, but maybe Ajax is like quoting someone. But yeah, those are sort of the names you're given. It's like, and I do think that it's this time that Craig sort of steps forward. It's like, well, if my wife hasn't bored you too much with politics, I would love to show you our home and provide you your rooms and a place for you to change for the party tonight.
We all dispersed to our
You're-
rooms. I have accessories for everyone for the party.
Aw.
Yes.
If
For
I could
us?
pass them out. Yeah.
That is very kind of you, friend.
So Hazel will go around the group and will bestow upon you, Kana, a woven wreath of vines and flowers that blossom open with the sun.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
Figured it would be nice for everyone to have something Magnolian for the garden party. And then Hayes will give Ajax a vining bracelet. This one is really special. Because it's made of vines, when your arms split, it'll split into two different bracelets for both arms.
Ajax will put it on and immediately see just how it like separates. And they'll go, interesting. What a complex spell in this. Great work.
Hayes is very happy with the praise. And then for Cam, they pull out a net woven of vining. I'm not quite sure if you would want to wear it as like a cape or like a sash, but I thought you could probably use it after the fact to catch some fish maybe. It should be able to snare them automatically.
Snare them automatically.
A little
Well,
different than the fishing you usually do, but
If,
my old fishing net does have a hole in it.
if you allow me, I think that like holding it, you can feel it. It coils a bit, not quite like a snake, but like it does. It is still living, so you can feel like it'll grab onto whatever you throw at it. This is not something I'm going to let you guys use in combat.
Thank
you don't.
you.
that would be handy, wouldn't it?
Throw a net at someone. Like no.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And Cam will just kind of take it and like put it under his arm for now.
And then for Maeve, Hayes pulls out a long hair stick made of the dark red wood that makes up so much of the buildings of the Magnolia Realms, with this long vining tassel that flows from it. And it sort of animates and spins like a wind spinner.
So it's like a lacquer chopsticks for hair.
Yeah, yeah.
She'll just kind of be like, and she'll recognize them and just, really? It's really pretty. Thank you.
We have to look our best for the garden party.
Oh my god, I didn't get you anything. I got something for the mayor, and I'm so sorry.
This is my gift to the team since we're visiting like my ancestral homelands.
Oh, you're
No need to give
you're
me a gift
from
back.
you're from the Petals?
Well,
It's amazing. I
my
didn't know
grandparents.
that. Has you visited before?
Yeah, when I was a kid, so still a little different, but
How long has it been? Sorry. Above campsite.
maybe 16 years. So a lot has changed, but
A really long time to be away from your home.
Just to
Well-
briefly aside, Kana is in the back corner just like doing bits of math of like, you were a kid 16 years ago.
oh yeah, I forgot. You're a little old ass little fart.
This is beautiful. Can you help me with a bun?
Yeah, of course.
And Maeve will sort of let her do
Twist.
the hair up. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do a little updo.
Now, for the note takers, I am sorry, I did mess up one thing. Willow is not Madam Mayor. I was completely wrong. Nimbazal was the mayor of the petal you're in right now.
Of the Prosperous Petal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did mix that up. I'm so sorry.
All good.
We're just swapping Prosperous and Lush back again, is what I'm hearing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. You are in the Lush Petal. Nimbazal is the mayor of that. Willow is just a leading member of the council.
All right,
I'm
so
so
we're
sorry.
simply
Wait, so
undoing the
are
retcon.
Are we in the
Yeah.
Lush Petal?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I just looked at my notes
Cool.
and
Okay.
went back.
Also,
all good.
real quick. Also, as Hayes is working on the bun, Maeve will just say, "This is the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life. I had to pick my jaw up off the floor when we first walked in, and it still hasn't sunk in yet. Culture shock, or whatever you want to call it. This is absolutely breathtaking. I could stay here forever. This is incredible." what was it like growing up here? I'm sure it was
Well,
incredible. Delightful,
I
whatever
didn't-
word you want to use.
Yeah. I didn't grow up here. I grew up in New Avalon, but then my family would visit sometimes. See
Right.
see the old stomping grounds and stuff. But yeah, I have lots of fond memories of playing in the streams and climbing on the trees. It's a nice place.
We can still do that.
Wait, that's so cute.
I think Jasmine
Can
is sort of standing there, and I also have those memory. We didn't interact much, but I do remember climbing the trees. I mean, you can before we get ready for the party. I would not recommend doing so in your fancy clothes, but
We can do
Yeah,
that right now if you want, or
This
tomorrow.
might be a little prone to ripping. Well, let's get settled and get dressed for the party.
tomorrow might be
Okay.
better. We do
Yeah.
have preparations to make for
Tomorrow.
the garden party.
Tomorrow then. It's a
Yeah.
We
promise.
have politics to do.
Politic.
Great.
Willow being like, my world's about to fall apart, and they're talking about climbing trees.
Hey, you know, the beauty of this place is just one more reason why we have to keep them from splitting the realms.
Wise words, friend Hayes.
Mhm.
Well, shall we go and prepare ourselves?
Mr. Fawn, could you lead us through...
Absolutely, and he
Sorry to make you wait.
gestures in. No. I think they've been chatting amongst themselves. They're still like making preparations, and there are other people in the garden that are sort of coming and going. Thankfully, it looks like the party isn't being held in this particular garden. Otherwise, there would be way too much activity. But you do see people coming in and like, oh, should we do this one or that one, or like, oh, the caterer wants to change this thing or stuff like that. So they are still handling a party. They're not like not doing anything and just waiting around.
But who's bringing the paper plates?
Yeah, I think Kana just kind of starts like
Yeah.
mumbling to himself a bit as he's walking along and just hope I must be formal enough. I don't know if my attire will be appropriate, but
It's as you go through. If you are saying this audibly, Jasmine will sort of very like subtly in this way that trying not to embarrass someone of we can help you find something. We have many people from the Alt Isles visit.
Kana kind of smiles somewhat. I haven't worn clothing from home in several decades.
It is always fascinating to me how long-lived and how consistent your people are. I cannot
Many people
imagine
find
waiting
anything
several
fascinating
decades.
about me.
I'm sure they do. And you are led to a hallway in this building where there are several rooms next to each other. You're each given like one small room. These are sort of the guest rooms, you assume. And there is a bed. There is a closet that has like not much in it, but there is some like, effectively what you'd assume are like pajamas. Nice sheets, stuff like that. And you guys are sort of free to find your clothing. But I do think we probably want to jump to the party in a bit. But
Sounds
give you
good to
guys
me.
some
I
more
will
space.
say, I just had the light bulb real quick. I just had the freaking light bulb turn on. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but Eriu, which is the old name for Maeve's home realm, it's just Midgar. It's basically just Midgar. The
Okay.
light bulb just turned on. That's like a perfect touchstone. That I was thinking of like something entirely different that I had in my mind, but like the light bulb just turned on
Sure.
for that. That's a really good one for one.
Perfect. All right, yeah. I have copied my notes in there. Yes, you are on the Lush Petal. And your hosts are just important people. Nimbus Zhao is the mayor for this place. The father of Thorn, the guy from last time, he's the actual
Nice.
mayor here. I'm so sorry I messed that up.
Right,
It's all
because
good.
it was like a politically significant thing if they were to get married. Yeah. Okay, I
Mm.
remember this now.
But yeah, I put the 5 mayors in our team's chat or our Discord chat, so you guys have those notes.
Oh, thank you.
And
Very
I can put the other characters in there if that's helpful. But yeah, any other scenes you guys want to do while you're sort of in this space before we jump to the party?
No. I'm
Good.
yeah, good to go.
No?
We are about to crest the hour. If you wanted to give us a super fast break before we did for you to know.
You know, I think that's a good idea. Twitch and internet, thank you guys for being here. We're going to take a quick break so that my players can decide what their fancy clothes look like and we get ready for this party. We'll be back in a few. See ya. We see our party. Why did it not? There it goes. Yeah. We see our party arriving at the mayor of the Lush Petals estate. The Zhao estate is very close to the main crystal temple that you were before. In fact, I think that Ajax in particular, who was like very aware of the environment, as he was scanning it, realizes that, yeah, like that wall over there, just a bit to the side, and that's the bridge to get to the temple. This party is quite calm. There's acoustic music in the background. There are many those high tables scattered around under various trees. There's several different food tables, and what you would all notice almost immediately is that everyone here is dressed so nice. Like you're so grateful that you got fancy clothing, because if you'd arrived normally, you would feel grubby is probably the word. I don't know if that's the one you'd use, but you would feel severely underdressed. Speaking of which, as you entered this party, I would love each of my players to tell me what does this formal wear look like? You have access to like whatever clothes that you already normally would have, or that feasibly you could find in this realm, and there's enough travel between that you can find at least like standard fancy clothes from wherever you're from. So it's up to you guys. Whoever would like to go first. What are you wearing?
I'm calling out Hayes to go first because they're from here.
Okay. So fair. So I think the overall silhouette is actually quite similar to the encompassing robes that we usually see Hayes wearing. But when we look closer, we see some finer details that elevate the outfit, one might say. So Hayes is wearing an ornately pleated mamianchin, a Chinese skirt that wraps around the waist with all these layered pleats and embellished with gold embroidery, and the long flowing blue robe over top with a kind of stormy gray sash to tie it all together. And Ovid peeks out from their sleeve as they enter the party.
I imagine Ovid, your plant pet, can sort of fold itself really tightly against your sleeves, so it's just sort of there, easily accessible all the time. Who else?
Yeah.
I think we could do Ajax's.
Sure.
So Ajax has a matching blue dye. How do you pronounce it? Egg? D-A-I?
Die? Mm-hmm.
Dye. Kind of just this almost sharp silhouette, kind of matching the way Ajax kind of just is, with the actual fabric and material.
He's a sharp boy.
Yeah. They're it's also got a similar flowery pattern, also with that gold, almost like a silky material. And then around their waist, they have a almost a gray. It's a gray sash with kind of moving vines. Holding parts of the version 1 of the thing that they have on their chest. I still have yet to come up with a name for it. My initial thought is Realm Space Snatcher, but that doesn't seem right. and then it's holding like the version 1 of it, and it's kind of like slowly moving around, and it's got like parts like of it to kind of like show just like the precision of it, and then also kind of like so like I guess what a large portion of people that are seeing it would be able to understand is like this is bits of the internal mechanism, and it moves this cylinder so that it actually adjusts the spell and is able to do the things.
Yeah. And I think that's it's like very interesting mechanical, and you definitely turn a few heads. I feel like Haze blends in more while you're like, oh look, that's really cool.
And then of course they've got the bracelet on their right arm from Haze.
Absolutely. Who else would like to go real quick?
I'll go. Why not? I'm already here. Anna has on what looks almost like, well, one, most of his outfit, if it is entirely kind of like a very sheenish, not sheenish, but like a very matte black, with lots of gold inlay, trimming, and patterning in places. He has on what looks like kind of like almost like a hakama, sort of like traditional, almost like skirt pant of sort of kind with light pleats in it, or like light folds in it, purely black, and then above that has, in lieu of like any kind of like outright shirt, just has kind of like a folded howdy above his on over his shoulders, so it kind of folds down towards the center of his chest, and like definitely, you know, it's a pretty deep V, so there's like, you know, a bit of well muscled like torso showing, and then has like very long sleeves that hang down almost a bit like below his hands, even when he folds them together. And that kind of like is again similarly black, but has like a kind of gold trimming along like the neckline and along the arms and things like that.
Cool. How traditional is that, or is this something that's like he's doing something new?
It's
out of curiosity.
It's I think it's actually incredibly standard as far as like Kadrate tradition, like clothing like this is pretty like solid for like formal affair and attire. It's honestly probably even still considered modest by Kadrate standards, but it's, you know, it's definitely Kadrate formal wear.
Yeah, and I do think that I don't know how well Kana would pick up on this, but I think there's a lot of people who almost are respecting that choice. Is like it's very traditional wear, like they're familiar with the Old Isles traditions in a way that they're not like, oh look, that's such a deep beat. They're like, no, that's about right.
Which is funny because Kana looks slightly uncomfortable.
All right, between Cam and Maeve, who wants to go next?
I can go next. Cam walks in. He's wearing gray suit, no vest, light blue shirt. The gray suit, if you actually look at it more carefully, it has gold thread to give it a fish scale pattern across the whole suit. It looks worn. This is very clearly not a new suit that Cam has purchased for this. This is clearly something that he's had for a long time. He's got, you know, draped over one shoulder, the net from Haze. Yeah.
Perfect. In my head, it's like, did Cam send a runner to go find this in his houseboat, or did he just go himself and then run back?
Yeah, he absolutely went himself.
Yeah. And left is
nobody's allowed on that houseboat.
Kana had to sneak in even.
Exactly.
So I think Maeve is going to be the interesting choice. How has Maeve dressed up for this? Because I don't know that Maeve is familiar with formal wear, or am I wrong?
Yeah. So I've been looking forward to this for a while. So
Excellent.
As the doors open, surprisingly, you will see Maeve walk in, and sort of like from the ground up, she has like solid black pumps on, and these like lacy pattern tights, these black tights, and essentially the TikTok dress with like the slits on the sides, and like the sort of gold trim, like sort of cheaper gold trim around the dress, and she still has the chopsticks in, and just a couple of very simple sort of like bracelets. and sort of done up as well with a red lip and sort of like a sharp dark wing, because they don't really have formal wear in Iryu, and old traditional garment is like for ceremonies, but she's wearing the formal wear that she would wear if she was going on a mission to infiltrate the corporate, like a corpo tower, and like mingle and get information and intel, or to assassinate someone. But she is absolutely rocking the femme fatale look, and just a single
Perfect.
black clutch over one shoulder.
Excellent. Yeah, you enter this party and you are all dressed, I would say, well for the occasion, although definitely different than a lot of the people here are dressed. It feels fitting, but a lot of the people here are dressed far more like Hayes and Ajax, minus Ajax interesting mechanical bits. There are a lot of very vibrant pinks and blues and purples and reds amongst the dress, especially. And you very first see Jasmine, who seems to have been waiting sort of near the door. She arrived maybe just a bit before you, who greets you all and sort of starts pointing out the various factions that we don't have to go over. They're pretty much what you were told previously of the different petals. Each have their industries as well as their politicians, and then also their guardians. I think that, Connor, you probably picked this up before Jasmine pointed it out of like, yeah, there is almost like a group of the guardians of all petals who are all being polite, but as a very like experienced warrior, you can tell that they move like warriors, and they're all a little bit posturing the way that warriors do amongst themselves as they are chatting mostly friendly. Like, and that's sort of the space you find yourselves in. You are greeted by Craig and Willow, and they would like to show you around all the politicians, but you don't all have to do that. One or two of you can represent the beacons if you would like.
Friends, you all look lovely.
So do all of you.
Gratitude.
I'm surprised they had something that fit me. I'm a bit small, even for one of my ilk.
No, all of you look great.
From behind
Usually-
you hear... Oh, sorry.
Should just say real quick, usually when I dress like this, it's a lot more stressful. I'm either afraid of being found out as a member of the Resistance or trying to kill someone. So this is the first time I've been able to dress like this and actually enjoy myself.
From behind you on that note, the deep voice of Anselm is... Then you're not that familiar with politicians as I thought you were. He is wearing a sort of... Clearly a military garb. It is this, like, jacket that sort of goes farther to one side. All of the buttons are held up with this conjured steel that he makes. And it also is... The shoulder pads are clearly, like, just an inch off the shoulders of these, like, metal guards. And he has, like, the cloak is... I mean, the jacket is long. It almost comes to a tail. But then again, there are studs at the very end of this, like, just shiny steel that are moving naturally so they don't, like, get caught in anything. And then sharp boots, sharp pants, and only a single medal, but it is clearly the symbol of the Round Table Knights, like the leaders of the Knights of New Avalon. As if Cam especially would know, and I feel like Anselm has probably mentioned this to all of you at some point. He has a lot of, like, things he has done. He is famous for accomplishments and has various medals, and there's only one he cares for in this moment. And he does not look happy. He looks pretty stressed, more stressed than you think he's been in any situation you have seen or heard of him. All right.
You look fairly dapper, Anselm, but I promise you these trifling nobles are nothing compared to the corporate necrolords of Ariu.
We
Every
still have
time
our
you
work
mention
cut out
that.
for us, though.
Sorry, what?
I said we still have our work cut out for us, though.
I'm sure we do. Never get complacent. You're right.
these people will not stab you in the face or the back, but what we do here can decide the fate of a realm.
Are
So,
you certain they won't?
I'm
That
trusting.
would be fun.
He does crack a small smile. It's like, well, the politicians won't. Perhaps the warriors will if you ask politely.
Maeve has already been, to actually like tie this back into actual skills. Maeve has already been casing the place, and she is going to use sort of a combination of resistance fighter and edgy high femme hobbyist and all the worlds of stage together to like. 'Cause I've been waiting for this to, and all those together I feel like make up a pretty well-rounded femme fatale. So she's going to look and see who is going to be someone who is... She's going to avoid the people who are going to be inscrutable or uncorruptible, the people who seem to be confident or carrying themselves with a confidence and purpose. And she's going to intentionally seek out the folks who look like they may be a little bit on the more degenerate side.
Okay.
A little bit more
I feel like it's
pliable.
probably a gain insight.
Okay.
So yeah, and I think those skills apply. So I think that's that's using your title and a skill, I believe.
No, those are all skills. Technically, you can only
Those are all
apply
background
one
skills.
skill to a roll, but that wouldn't matter too much, given that you can only have a maximum of 3 accuracy anyway.
So I'll say 2. Yeah, let's say roll 2d6 on that one.
Okay, and then you said insight. I'm not seeing insight or anything. I mean, so
Oh,
would that
if you look
be...
at the narrative action or at the narrative actions over on the right there, one of the options is gain insight in the select narrative action. Yeah,
okay.
there you go. And so yeah, you'd be rolling d20 plus your 2d6s, and you take your high d6 and add it.
And then +1
Also
for
your
grit still.
Yeah, that too.
So wait, not a combat. This downtime activity.
No,
and
it would be select narrative
Narrative.
actions, gain insight.
I don't think I have narrative actions.
Over on the right.
See where it says gather information?
Yeah, there's those three drop downs.
Gather inf. Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah, you
sorry.
just
Yeah, it
change
was on
that
gather
to-
information.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's why. There you go.
Sorry.
There you go.
Oh, good.
All good.
Gain insight. There it is. All right. So it's a 2d6.
Plus a d20.
Yeah,
plus
1d20. Yeah. And it's the highest of the 2d6, so not both of them.
Okay. So a d20 plus the 2d6,
The higher of the 2d6.
but also a d20.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. D20 is 6. And then the 2d6 one is a 5, so
Yep.
that's an 11.
Plus
more.
1
And
from
then
your grit.
+1.
12.
That's So on a 10 through 19 is a hit. You can ask 2 of the following questions about this party. What recently happened or is about to happen? How can I? What seems strange here? Who or what is in charge here? What is safe or vulnerable here? And what is useful to me? I feel like the thing you're asking is probably what is useful to me, like who is corruptible? And then you can pick one, out of that list.
I would say, yeah, who's vulnerable and who's going to be useful to me? Someone I can flirt with and like just continuously feed drinks, who's maybe going to be a little bit more pliable about getting information we need or susceptible to
Okay.
friendly influence.
Files.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
that there are 2 answers to this because it's 2 questions. You have been given descriptions of, and I think you would recognize some of the people that are an answer here. One would be, let me decide. Yeah, so you notice Vanity Nua pretty quickly. There is a mix of Cambion and Draconic and Beast folk here in the Petals. And Vanity he is wearing probably more New Avalon style like suit, but sort of mixed with this the Magnolian style that again Ajax and Hayes have on. It's like a sheer black, I think, and he has like a cloud of spirit around him that makes this sash of a sort of similar energy to what Hayes uses. And you can tell from how I'm trying to think of how you would notice this, but he seems sly. He seems like he is watching everyone and doesn't trust any of them. He's been described as cynical to you, and you can see it. He's almost sneering at some of the people around him. He's barely hiding that, maybe. He's, you think, probably the more corruptible. He's not as vulnerable to you, but he is definitely someone that you're like, that's a man that I can wheel and deal with.
Yeah. So I think we probably at some point lock eyes if he's, because if for someone like, and this is bringing in some IRL stuff too, if you like are actually like observing your surroundings and having that PTSD in you, for me it was for being a paramedic for 13 years, when you're doing that and somebody else is doing it, you almost immediately lock eyes. So when that happens, I'll probably just give him a little wink.
I think that's the thing is, there's a lot of people in this party who are like that. Definitely all of the Guardians are that way. I think the thing that you're connecting with is that he's not assessing danger. He is assessing the same thing you are of who here can I manipulate.
I'll also probably there'll probably be a few moments of recognition between the other people who are assessing for like danger as well.
Yeah.
They'll probably like see me and we'll probably have some quick moments where I'll just give them a little like.
Yeah. There's also like butlers and like clearly assistants of various mayors who have that sort of energy of aware of their surroundings dramatically.
Yeah.
There's another figure though that you're like, oh, that's someone I can ply with drinks and get to tell me anything.
Okay.
You don't know their name. They are a very slender, also beast folk. They have sort of like a brown fur, probably more cat-like than Vanity is. And they seem to be hanging around near the Cambion you know probably is Dusklow. Seems to be his assistant, maybe? Unclear, but is in like his group, so with the politicians.
Okay. We can pause there for now. I'll let other folks do their thing.
I mean, I know we talked a little bit about like what our plans might be in like during the break, and so I think we thought Ajax and Hayes might want to go check in with some Smarty Pants folk. Kana might go chat with political individuals or be around while Maeve does so. And I think Cam, you were checking out some of those satellite parties, looking for some info on people who might have gone missing.
Yeah, if you want to do that right now.
I think that's the most interesting one, because so like everyone else in the group starts sort of like fanning out, and Anselm seems to like nod in approval, and then he looks at you, Cam, and he can tell you are already going to leave. He's like,
I showed up.
I really hope
motherfuckers saw me. I'm out, dog. Like,
yeah, like there was a very quick like you were introduced to Nimbus very briefly, who was like host, who, you know, it's her place, excuse me. It's her place. She's saying hi to everyone as a good hostess should. But you're already about to leave, and Anselm's just like, please tell me this has something to do with the mission, and you're not going to just go fishing.
Of course I'm not just gonna go fishing. That would be ridiculous. Yeah, I was gonna go check on some of the other parties around. I was given some information that, you know, maybe I could check in. They might have some rumors. Maybe this information that we have about nobody knowing about disappearances isn't quite correct, and who knows, maybe somebody's controlling that information.
Then I wish you luck. I'll cover for you.
Can't help but notice you've got a new suit.
Well, the last party I went to was for the Knights, and I don't know how familiar you are with some of my council members, but some of them get a little rowdy when they're drunk, and I had to buy a new suit.
Oh no, did somebody ruin your last suit, Lemmy? What a shame.
Let's just say that not all of them can hold their drink, and some of them really wish they were fighters still.
Yeah. You remember this suit? And Cam will kind of like tug at his collar. I've had this since the wedding day.
Yeah, I thought that looked familiar. Surprised you still fit in it.
Guess it's one of the perks of being a beacon. Physique doesn't really change much over the years.
I think that's more to do with you keeping in shape. He
No,
like
either way.
his suit, which he probably that's how he had to get a new suit, but also he does not have the suit that he wore to your wedding anymore, and not because it broke.
Well, I've been seen. People know that all the beacons showed up, and guess I'll head out then.
Exactly.
Well,
Pop out, be seen, leave. It's really that simple, friends.
well, you're quieter than Kana and just as short. I'm sure no one will notice.
I think Cam's actually
Try not to get in
taller
too
than
much
me.
trouble.
He looks around and he sighs heavily. He's like, I'll try. And yeah, you are off to one of these other parties. Now, I will say, you are given a few options. Because there's several gardens around, but definitely because there's some that are, like, you are talking to other fishermen and aether, like, sailors, effectively.
Yeah.
So there's definitely at least a few that happen to be right on the riverline, where, in fact, fishing is happening. So be honest, are those the ones Cam chooses to go to first?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's at least get you introduced to that. So you leave this party with a certain kind of music. The background sounds don't change much, but you, knowing where you're going, then you hear a very different and more lively kind of music.
Okay.
It's a little bouncier, it's a little funner, and yeah, I was waiting for that. As Foxy doesn't know, this is one of our favorite songs from an old game.
Got his ass.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I'd like to think on his way, Cam, I think, knowing that there's going to be some fishing involved, has already taken off the suit jacket, has rolled up his sleeves. The net is now, it's still on his shoulder, but it's now on the shoulder of the shirt instead. But yeah.
And I think you carry it with you, and they have like a jacket check at this garden. It's clearly not like a house the way the other one is. This is effectively a bar. It's just like an open air bar. There's one building to the side where they have like drinks and food being served, and then one long fence. The whole long side of that is it's like seating where it could be at the side of a bar, but like on the opposite side. And there are little like placements to put fishing rods on each of them, and several of them are already occupied. So people are effectively like drinking and having food while chilling and fishing. And just every once in a while, one goes up and they pull it in, and there's like buckets, and you see one of them actually like water is propelled away from them by like the seat they're in, so they're not screwing up their clothing as they do this. Yeah, this is the sort of party you enter, and the one thing I want to know before we sort of maybe jump back, how does Cam present himself as one of them as quickly as possible?
Let's see. I think Cam will... You know what? Cam will have actually stopped by his houseboat first and grabbed one of his own fishing rods to bring with him.
Smart. Yep. So yeah, you are showing up with a fishing rod. I would love... What are the signs of this fishing rod and your stance? Those details that, like, yes, this is a man who knows what he's doing. Like, is this an old rod that has, like, battle scars, effectively?
Two
So
master
it's-
fishermen eye each other from across the pier,
Right? Like,
observing their equipment,
what's the
taking in
vibe?
their stance.
One screams out, "What's your name?" The other responds, "Tony."
I'll catch your shark for you. Anyways,
No, so it's still one of his... It's a pretty standard looking fishing rod, besides, of course, as Cam always does. It's got the needle at the end. it's not, it's not made out of like a fancy material or anything. It's not new or shiny. It looks like a worn, used fishing rod. And I'd say he walks in carrying it not like slung over his shoulder, but like resting against his shoulder so it's not in the way of other people.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously let in, but I think that I assume you go sit down at the bar and put a fishing rod up first?
Yeah, so we'll walk in and go, all right if I bring my own rod?
There's not really a doorman, but there is like someone who's providing seating for like the tables. There's like, yeah, there's a few spots open. Not many fishermen today. We don't mind what fishing rod you use. Honestly, I'd rather you didn't take ours. We lose more fishing rods that way from people who think they know what they're doing and don't.
Perfect. Yeah, just, find me a spot at the... Oh, any spot at the bar? It's okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, and Cam will take a seat and we can come back to the rest of this scene later. Want to go back to the current party?
Yeah, you have found yourself this party, and at least you're bringing your own fishing rod does seem to have helped be like, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing, it's fine. But back at... So I'm just gonna have to keep switching this music when it's between the two of them. There's a very different energy between the two. This is very calming to maybe try and hamper down the arguments that are surely happening. So between the four of you, what direction are we gonna go first? Who would like to set this off?
I mean, we haven't heard from our two nerds yet. Y'all want to go?
Yeah.
Want to go be dorks somewhere?
I have to take a quick 5, so that would be a good opportunity for y'all to.
I'm curious. Can we pick out this Gregory figure? From the crowd? I know he's the New Avalonian, so.
Yeah, I think he's pretty easy to notice because he is. He's wearing like a nice suit and vest, fitted. It seems fairly well. He has. You can tell a wizard in their fashion because when wizards make a spell, they're basically drawing like a shape of light in the air. It almost works like circuitry. Ajax's circuitry is all internalized because he is more of a machine. But so he has. Gregory seems to have made this very complex sigil sort of that drapes over his shoulders and almost makes not like a halo the way we think of it, but almost like a high collar behind him of these complex sigils that of various colors. He seems to be just chatting with some of the politicians, but sort of on the edge of that. And then also between the politicians and sort of the tradesmen would be the right word, businessmen. He doesn't seem to have a space where he is in on purpose. Yeah.
I think upon picking him out of the crowd, Hayes will glance over to Ajax and kind of like raise their eyebrow like a question to see like, that's our target?
Initial target, yes. I would like to gather more information on the leaders of the he'll say the names of the realms of the Radiant and the Vibrant Petals.
Radiant.
Pigeons. And I didn't write down the name of the Vibrant Petal Mare, but I am suspicious of particularly patients. They appear to be the main advocate for the separation. I believe that if anyone would have been replaced, it may be them. But unconfirmed so far.
Do you want to see if we can find her after getting a little bit more sense of how this separation is supposed to work from L40?
Now, I will say, just to not like interrupt too much, but you could go talk to them directly, but you do know look, you can talk to the people who work with them, including these two mages that I pointed out, or find someone else that probably exists to talk to them to learn more about them.
Okay.
Learn more about these leaders of the Petals.
Cool. Yeah, we don't have to like be like, "Yo, what's up, fam?" As they're like
Mhm.
incredibly powerful.
No,
Yeah.
no, you in fact don't have to do that, actually.
Hi, I'm your biggest fan. Can I take a selfie? No.
You need to be stopped.
I'm sorry.
Oh, my fucking
In,
chest
in a more
burns.
serious sense, I think in that case Hayes will start drifting over towards the conversation that Greg and others are having
Mhm.
to see if we can.
Yeah. When you arrive, it seems Gregory is actually talking to Razor Young, the draconic mayor of the Prosperous Petal. You hear just the end of like, your crystal for the Magnolia Realms is unique in its structure, but it is not impossible to separate. I've seen a lot of the study that your mages and realm mages have done. It's quite impressive, but I do think that it's quite possible to untangle these threads and weave them into a new and more beneficial pattern for each petal. And it seems he is already at work trying to convince maybe not the most vulnerable person here politically, but someone that is against what he is doing.
Razor is the
Prosperous Petal Mayor.
of Prosperous.
Yeah, so that's the petal that is allied with the lush petal.
Yes.
They're
Yes,
like
yes.
pretty set on not splitting the realms.
Okay.
Yes. And you can tell without having to roll too much, he doesn't seem that convinced.
Yeah. Ajax
Mayor
would
Yang is sort of like,
probably also- Ajax would probably interject at least a little bit of, however, one of the main advantages of the current geometry within the realm space is the porosity. Many realm spaces are not able to recreate this without incredible instabilities.
I would love probably some kind of narrative action here. What is the purpose of this? Are you trying to gain insight? Are you trying to make conflict?
I'm wanting to point out that he may not fully understand what it is that makes the Magnolia Realms as prosperous as they do. Would that be make conflict?
Well, it depends. Are you trying to like fight this guy verbally, or are you trying to like convince someone? Are you trying to understand something about him?
I guess trying to understand him and where he's coming from and what he would classify a better arrangement.
Yeah, then it's gonna be gain insight. Roll me whatever. Like if you have a skill that you think applies here.
I think would number cruncher or unique neural pathways work better?
I say neural pathways
Because
probably.
it would be okay. Yeah, because it would be a very odd situation to try and think about. So that's a 15
people
on
is
the
what you're dealing with.
die. Yeah, and a 5 and or a 3, so a dirty 20.
There you go.
Plus
So
1 for grit, 21 technically.
yeah, well look, 20 is a crit here. So you can ask 2 of the following questions from that list, and then you can also ask a follow-up to one of those questions. And that question doesn't have to be on the list.
Okay.
So I would love those questions before I give his answer.
Yeah. So let's see. So we already know what is vulnerable here. Let's see.
I think that you could still ask that if you want to know what's vulnerable about him.
Yeah, I think like his insecurities, like his personal insecurities.
Damn.
Break him
Vibe
mentally
check.
and intellectually.
Hey, yo, I pulled up your doctorate dissertation and it says nothing about realm space augmentation and rather what to do of magical manipulation of hairstyles. So, is this a recent development?
Yeah, I didn't know you tried to have drip. You definitely bought that. You don't know how to make that.
Yeah. Dollar store drip. Let's see. And then let's see. So trying to figure out his personal insecurities and then what he would classify as a better arrangement for the realms, I guess.
So yeah, it's what is vulnerable here, and then I don't know what that second one really qualifies as. What's about to happen?
I guess, or like what could be happening.
Yeah, I'll take that. So you say it's like, well, this is a very unique setup, and he doesn't like jerk, like he's not super fast to look at you, but immediately you have his attention. As also Razor, you have Razor's attention. These two, and there's a few other people around. Yeah, I know Razor's a dumb name. I just kind of picked it.
I like that.
He's not right. And yeah, Gregory here considers you for a moment and goes, well, it is quite unique, but we don't have to lose what's unique about these realms while making a new one. We can design it however we'd like, and I have quite a few theories that each of these 5 petals can have a different and unique setup. And I'm going to say what is vulnerable here, as he starts talking about it, I think only because Ajax has like started studying this and has a beacon, maybe a more innate sense of the realm than a lot of people do in this study. You realize he's not touching on any details about like actually how to do this. It is pretty high concept.
Okay.
I think the thing that you're finding vulnerable is you already looked at some of his work and you're like, does he actually know how to do this? He's at least vulnerable, and you could probably press him on the specifics of these things, and no one else but you two would know what you're talking about, but you might be able to ascertain the level of detail. And then what is sort of about to happen, or like, feed me the specifics of that question again? I'm missing it.
Sorry, just finishing up my notes.
Yeah.
What he thinks is an advantageous orientation of the realms, like how he would even think about removing the interconnectedness of the Magnolia realms, but retain the
like what's
the
special about them?
rapid growth. Yeah, what's special about the Magnolia realms from them being connected? How is he going to keep those aspects despite not having connectedness?
He does have specific plans for each of the 5 petals on like what each of them needs. He seems to understand what the petals need pretty specifically. So like the bountiful petal is specifically creates foodstuffs. Like they're farmers. They make a lot of animal like livestock for eating versus for like selling live. And he's like, oh, they would definitely need more of this forest nature of theirs so that they can grow more, as would far more than, say, the vibrant that is more about art and beauty. or the Radiant that also doesn't need it as much. They are far more philosophers and educators and mages. You know, and he almost has like this tier list of how porous each of them have to be to have that level of growth. And I think he also talks about specifically like, and the less porous they are, the more secure they can be. And I think that that's a benefit to even the ones that want to, or that's a benefit for the two that definitely want to leave, is that they worry about the stability of the realm that they are in because of its porous nature. And so he does have like a specific, that's how he imagines that they will be separated.
Ajax would like.
So you do get a follow-up question if you want to.
Okay. Yeah.
Which can be
So
anything.
you think that the mayors of the Petals worry about the instabilities within the realms, despite the fact that the Magnolia Realms has existed before the collapse of, I guess, reality, before like realms became a thing.
Yeah. And to be clear, he means like the sort of bubble that keeps it from becoming part of the Aether Wilds. I think if you question it, it's like, well, if I do not miss my guess, you're one of the beacons, correct? You were just in a realm that suffered a strange breach in its integrity. And each of these realms has several guardians whose sole job is to stand at each bridge, the place where they're most vulnerable. That's a lot of resources and time.
The shaking in this realm's stability only happened because there was a moment in time where the realm crystal was in its most vulnerable state. And within the separation proceedings, if it were to, the realm crystal will be in an incredibly vulnerable state, in such that even if without the titlings of any Aetherlings at all, the slightest slip up can cause massive damage. Now, you throw in the titlings of possible Aetherlings, chances are not good. You should know this.
Yeah,
throwing that last bit in as just like
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, I'm, again, so many names to keep track of. So yeah,
I think,
Razor to the side is like, well said, good sir. I don't believe we have met. I am Razor Yang, the mayor of the prosperous Petal. I've heard great things about you.
Pleasure to meet you, Razor. Razor Yang or Fang?
Yang.
Yang.
It's like, I am fully in agreement with our mechanical friend. The stability of the crystal is far more important than maybe the porous nature of the realms. We have the warriors, we have the magic and the power to protect us. The crystal, however, that is far more difficult to fabricate. And besides, we have weathered these storms since before the realm collapse. We have had these political misgivings since before our very existence relied on them. I would not want to throw away such work.
That's legacy code. You know that thing doesn't have any like.
Oh yeah, there's like there's two wizards who know like this archaic syntax for that shit that are just keeping it all together. No.
And it's like,
hell no.
this is so outdated. What does this 3 paragraphs of code do, bro? Just don't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Is this a metaphor
Ajax
for...
will.
Never mind.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So is this a metaphor for Doge and
I didn't mean
government inefficiency? The realm inefficiency?
Well, stop making fun of the Tusk Man when he stops being so easy to mock, alright?
True.
Anyways.
I am become meme, right?
Little did he know, that's not a thing you want to be. Anyways, yeah, that's clearly Gregory is miffed as Razor's like, and it was a pleasure meeting you, and if you excuse me, and he's gonna go talk to other politicians, and you're left with Gregory, who is upset that you have butted in on what was probably not gonna be a successful, like, conversation anyways, but...
Uh-huh. I think Hayes will try to, calm the waves a little bit. Mr. L40, you studied in New Avalon, yes?
He turns to you and is like, yes, I have. You must be Hayes, from what I've known.
Yes. Also from New Avalon.
I've heard your aunt, I believe, is quite skilled in spirit calling.
Yes, she teaches there. I was curious, who did you study under at the school?
He does have an answer that I just don't really quickly, off the top of my head. He lists off, yeah. He is, like, accredited, he's gone through the school, he's not a professor, but, like, he effectively could have been. If it makes sense, he is purely a researcher, as he's like, oh, yeah, well, you know, I'm under this realm mage who, I think that he is a quite skilled, if a sort of traditionalist amongst our discipline. He would never approve of the work that I'm trying to do here with finding a new solution to a old problem that no one seems interested in fixing.
Indeed. Most do not seem interested in,
And he does sort of pointedly, like a traditionalist, not interested. He seemed subtly pointing at Ajax, like not pointing, but like leaning at that, like, yeah.
Oh wait, Chelsea muted.
Chas, you muted.
Chalice!
His headphones are... No, you can't hear us.
Ajax is definitely already like pulled up their I guess like, the only thing I can really think of is the doctorate dissertation of just like the paper you write for your master's degree. And pulled that up and just being like plagiarism checking. And like seeing like absolutely able to just like holographically pull that up at any time.
You want to keep pressing this, man? You can, yeah.
Ajax, I feel like would absolutely want to grill the shit out of him. Just being like, you are not qualified to be anywhere near this conversation to like do this. You can like as far as from what I've gathered, like assuming that he was only able to like think and like understand like the most highest like I guess like the most distant concepts of it, like oh yeah, just move the realm in its geometry, just poke holes in it so it's porous.
I'll say I'll say that just maybe part of the questions you've already asked, you don't know for sure that he can't. He just was definitely keeping it that high level, and that's probably a vulnerability in that you know that most scholars would go into that in specifics. So I think you'd have to push more to like really get how deep he is on there.
Okay. Ajax would probably also ask him how long he is like been studying like realm magics.
I mean, you can see that's like, kind of what his dissertation is on, but also his dissertation is very much on like, this is how it's traditionally done, and these are the things I would like to change about that.
Interesting.
Okay.
I do think that as you're talking, you'd notice they're not engaged in conversation yet, that Vanity is like sort of nearby and seems to have clocked what you're doing and is probably approaching soon.
Got you. Should we pass it off to someone else?
Yeah, I think that's a good
before Vanity steps in. I have questions for Vanity.
But yeah, I'd say Ajax, you don't know for sure he can't do what he's saying. You just know that he's clearly more of a disruptor and not like interested in telling people the specifics.
Okay.
But yeah. Now, as for our other two beacons, it seems like are heading towards the politicians, and I think that Anselm is like trying to get at least a few of you to go with him to talk to all of them. And since 3 of the 5 of you have sort of gone their own direction. He is standing behind you two, Kana and Maeve, and is like, well, let's go into the teeth of the lion's den, and walks forward.
Maeve has been snacking on hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, yeah.
So she'll
And there's
just
like fruit, there's fish, there's like those little like fancy meats with like on crackers and things.
You said meat?
Oh yeah, although it's a lot of small portions because they are snacks.
Anna has
Yeah.
like 10 of them bushelled in his hand. It's just
Ords devoured.
Oh, I think that you reach from in your hands, and Anselm, like trying to keep this civil but not take meat away from you, like gets a plate for you and is like, no, you stack them, you can hold more, and then your hands are clean.
they're gone.
He says very subtly. Yeah. So for the next round,
he just put the thing on the plate. Thank you, friend.
it's like,
Oh,
no,
these are
hold
really
like,
good.
it's like, no, hold that. That's where you put the. He's trying to get you to use the plate and not your hands, but he's like not trying to stop you from eating more. It's like, nope, for the next round.
I think he'll nod a little and then look over at Maeve and see that she's kind of like eyeing all over the place and just like
Yeah, also like just eating these things.
yeah, just
Mm.
so.
These are
What
really
is the
good.
plan?
Well, it seems as if the majority of folks, especially those that we're allied with, do not want the realm here to break apart or the petals to separate. So if that is our aim, we should attend to that end. I think Anselm might have some suggestions on where to
Yeah.
start.
I will be
If you need
talking to-
information, I'll get it for you.
Yes, I'll be talking to, well, mostly the Vibrant and Radiant Mares. They seem to be engaged with our friend Nimbus to try and get them to stop pressing. But I wouldn't trust my opinion to hold much weight with Dusk, the one who is still deciding. If you can maybe occupy him while I occupy Patience and Dawn, that would be best. Prevent them from talking to Dusk. and
Above
then
table for a
you
moment. Maeve, you
Yeah.
had eyed someone. You spotted someone at like a potential vulnerability. Do we remember who that was?
Yes.
And, well, you don't know his name because he's not a politician, but it is Dusk's assistant, you'd assume. He is standing near Dusk and is...
Cool. I just wanted to make sure I
Completely
kept those down
behind it,
properly in my brain.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool.
Mm,
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. Then
I
yeah,
have a name.
I think Kana just
Well-
turns back over and gives a bit of a nod to Maeve. Then I will follow your
Sounds
lead.
like Dusk is the person we want to talk to.
Is
If
there
you could, please.
anything I should do?
I could occupy Dusk's assistant if you want to keep Dusk busy, or Dusk seems
Well-
more professional, less pliable.
Well, and I will say, like, where the warriors are is also sort of near this cluster. It's sort of like, think of like 3 different clusters that are near each other. It's like, well, I am under the impression that Dusk in particular is quite proud of his guardians. Perhaps you can convince him to introduce you as a fellow warrior.
I will try.
Thank you. And now to our strategy. And he is going to, you see him basically wade, because he's a wide dude. He is like built like a knight into, like he has to like maneuver gently around these much smaller politicians to get to sort of the center of this group. And you see him almost immediately be able to talk and engage with them and the same like level of speed and acuity maybe. He doesn't look happy about it, but he's doing it.
This is Anselm you're talking about?
Yeah, Anselm is separated from you, so you are left to your own devices.
Okay,
All right then. Shall we be off?
let's go. So, I think Maeve will probably start by doing a little runway walk over to the group.
Mhm.
With an awkward Kana shuffling behind.
Yes. And just kind of, she's I think, fairly well versed in the social nuances of interjecting into a conversation. So whenever she has the opportunity, she will stand off to the side within a few feet, just kind of walk over, do a cute pose, and then as soon as there's an acknowledgement, she'll do a little head tilt smile and wait for Duskglow or someone else in that circle to acknowledge her.
Okay, so you are here in this conversation, and Dusk seems to be engaged with probably some of the other council members of other Petals, and you hear him mostly talking about some of the effect of he's saying, well, our farms and our livestock sales are currently competing with those of New Avalon, especially in the Old Isles. Our brand is seen as quality and natural and nourishing, but is perhaps not as flashy. We're not sure exactly why we're not doing as well currently, but such as it is. With his assistant behind, sort of nodding solemnly as he's talking about the issues of his the realm that he's in charge of. As you approach, though, the politicians he's talking to definitely look at you, and he does turn and see the two of you approaching, and it is the Beacons, kind of waving enthusiastically. I believe it's the Beacons. You would be...
Yeah, that's correct. I am Maeve, and this is Kana.
Yes, and he turns, and the person next to him's like, I believe rambunctious was the word you used. Yes, the rambunctious too.
Rambunctious? Only on the right occasion. And she will just kind of time it where she'll reach over and grab like a glass of champagne from one of the
servers,
cocktail servers. Yep. And we'll just
and Dusk in particular is like, well, Kana here, it's famed as a warrior, and you'll have to forgive me, Maeve, but you do have a reputation already, having been only in our collective realms for a short time.
I do?
You could see for a minute, especially because you're very politically apt, of like,
yes,
you know the thing that he would say if he had less self-control, but instead he's like, well, he did make quite a splash amongst the hairdressers of New Avalon. I've heard your magic is quite intimidating when used in combat.
So you already have a dossier on me. What else do you know about me?
He looks around, it's like, well, we all have dossiers, you say. That's the term. On all of you. You are the Beacons. And you
yes,
see
we
the
have
other politicians. They like, not nod in agreement dramatically, but they all like, very much like, yeah, we know who you are.
Yes, well, gentlemen, I hope to defy expectations tonight. It's been a pleasure so far, and I hope that by speaking with me, you'll be able to really get to know the real me. And she'll just kind of shuffle in a little closer to the conversation. I hope I'm not imposing. I simply wish to hear about, I believe you mentioned trade and investments and brands. I am extremely well versed in this where I come from, and though I tend to bring a brashness to bear in combat, a worthy skill to be able to intimidate your opponents and catch them off guard. On the battlefield is different from me on a personal level.
Okay, so are you trying to convince them to engage with you, or are you trying to like find out more about them?
Yes. Well, both. Well, actually, no. I'm trying to. Yeah, both.
Okay. I'll say we'll do maybe one and then later the other. Let's start with convince, if you're fine with that.
Sure.
So yeah, that'll be another narrative roll. So from that drop-down menu.
And this is definitely all the world's a stage. For a skill.
Fair.
Right. And it's gather and convince.
Convince. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, are there any d6s with this?
Well, if you're using all the worlds as stage, then you should get
Whatever your rank in that skill is. Like whatever your yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's not a skill. I'm not seeing it on your background skills. Oh no, it is
Yeah,
there. Okay, that's
right
1d6.
Background skill, yeah. Okay.
sorry, it was exactly the same width as the create background skills below
Oh,
it, and it
yeah.
just blended in my head. Like, ah.
18 total.
All right, perfect. So, yeah, I'm gonna choose between two options. That you don't really have leverage over them. So, he seems to engage for a moment, but I'm gonna say that they will do what you want, but only if you do something for them first.
Naturally.
You see, he's like, well, I'm sure we all will. Your every action is news, you could say.
Really?
Yeah,
We're very popular, I suppose. I'm not used to all this attention. It's not.
he's like, yeah, you are sort of interrupted. One of the other politicians, like, yes, but we really should get back to, like, they're clearly there for a reason of, like, debating this idea of separation. One of them is bringing up, it's like, yes, but what you do also relies on imports from these other petals, and would we keep, like, some of the same trade agreements? And you see, Dusk seems to, like, sigh. He doesn't roll his eyes, and it is this, again, subtle motion. But it seems like the thing he'd like for you to do is give him an excuse to not have to talk to these people right now.
Say, I'm terribly sorry to interrupt, but I have some rather pressing questions, interview questions, if you will. We as Beacons are here, of course, on an official capacity, and it's our job to introduce ourselves to the various politicians and tradesmen here in the Petals, and to attempt to speak to everyone, to discern what may or may not be in the best interest of the realm and the Petals, while also weighing everyone's options with the most extensive and thorough of eyes. Of course, fairness and equity, as is in trade, is something I'm sure you're all very well versed in, gentlemen.
To help out
So,
with this,
that being said,
Kana is zipping between the other politicians, being like, "Hi, I'm Kana. Hi, I'm Kana. Hi, I'm Kana."
Yeah, I think that's like a good distraction. Where are you proposing that you like go? Like, what direction are you steering him as you do this?
oh, me or Kana?
Either of you.
I
Kana's
assume you.
the-
I'm just gonna
like.
keep
Yeah.
golden retrievering it up over here.
Yes. So, gentlemen, I'm sure we'll all have a time to resume, but I am so sorry I must call in a beacon privilege here to be able to have a one-on-one with our friend Misha Dusk here. Perhaps I can purchase you a drink.
I do love this moment of you see his assistant is like, purchase. But Dusk seems to sort of latch on. It's like, yes, I believe Kana here. You would enjoy meeting some of our guardians. I do think, gentlemen, you have to excuse me. It would be important for the beacons to meet those who serve our realm or serve our petal with a similar honor. Knights must know knights, of course. Which I think is a phrase that like New Avalon has is like knights must meet knights. Or knights must whatever knights like.
Yeah. So sorry, gentlemen. I'm sure you'll have plenty of time to continue the conversation. I'll make sure that Mayor Dusk returns to you. And then she'll just do a little turn, look over her shoulder, and do another runaway walk, like as she just takes another sip of the over to the bar.
I do think you notice the assistant, like, he is trying to look respectfully, and I don't know how respectful it is. Like, he just, but he is following. Yeah, trying so hard not to let his like gaze go
The
too
dotted
like,
lines with the eyes.
yeah, like. As you sort of move more towards the guardians, as you do, you see Duskling's like, "Thank you. They are ravenous." If you're familiar with politicians,
I am unfortunately exceptionally well versed in the art of politique. Against my will, as I shall say as a
I
joke.
believe. Yeah. I think that everyone who is good and a politician, it is against their will. I think he offers like a hand out to like even lead you if you're trying to sort of ingratiate yourself with him.
Oh yeah, she'll rather than the aggressive handshake, she'll just do a little dainty hand grab.
Yeah. That's I think an interesting place for us to leave is you're heading towards the guardians of the realm.
Sure. Yep.
You can clearly hear a slightly more rambunctious conversation, and probably Thorn's voice in particular that you're familiar with. As you do so, I would love to know now. How is Cam trying to collect information while amongst these fishermen? Man, that music's gonna make me laugh a little bit every time. It's so good.
Real quick, what is Duskcloud's official title?
Mayor.
Mayor of what?
Which is a mayor.
Did we get his assistant's name?
You have not asked it yet.
Okay.
Mayor Duskcloud of what petal?
I had Bountiful Petal. That's the one I should remember.
Bountiful petal, thank you. Oh, this music is awesome.
It's great.
This is from a previous campaign. It's called Oregano.
Amazing.
Yeah, you'll catch it on some.
Yeah.
It'll come up on some YouTube videos too.
It's great, actually.
That caught me so off guard.
It's one of my favorite Epidemic soundtracks, actually.
It's phenomenal.
It showed up on the Flood previously.
It's just
Yeah,
missing the fish. We need someone to do the fish. Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah, so I think it was a steady progression of catching fish and like small talk at the bar has slowly become like an actual competition, which has then become just exchanging tall tales of like what you've caught.
Okay.
And I think Cam's gonna use. Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we'll probably go with gather information, even though this isn't quite the same like in vibes, but we'll just.
All right, yeah. So gather information, and I'll use. I mean, I gotta use furthest cast in the West, Fisherman's Digest.
Absolutely, Fisherman's Digest. I love the name you picked for this.
Alright, so that'll be a d20, 2d6.
That's gonna be enough
That's
for
a 22. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you can ask 2 questions.
Okay.
About the topic. So I'm assuming this is you're trying to figure out like tall tales about the Aetherlings in particular.
Yeah. So.
And I'll say before you describe it, are you trying to hide the fact that you're a beacon, or not?
No. I think it's been fairly obvious that the beacons are coming.
Yeah. Although say this is not a party of the politicians. These people probably won't have a dossier on you.
Oh, absolutely. No, that part's perfectly fine. Cam's not gonna hide anything. It's, it's also they're fishermen. They spread rumors anyway. It's.
Yeah.
The rumors are gonna get inflated no matter what he says.
Time for fishing. Is that fucking Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, so I guess
I think it's during the conversation as you're trying to do these things, someone eventually is like, they don't ask you, but someone clearly you hear is like, I think that's one of the beacons. I think that's the fishing guy. They don't know as much, but yeah.
Yeah.
So continue, sir.
Yeah, so the 2 questions would be, has anybody heard of or seen humanoid Aetherlings? And second of all, does anybody know of like people disappearing in the realm? And he's gonna phrase this as like, look what I caught, and he's gonna show like a picture of the fish that he caught in the dungeon last time. Yeah, the fish suitcase, and be like, I caught this weird thing in the Aether Wilds. I pulled a black hole out of it. It's really cool. Are there any rumors, any rumors going around like that you guys have heard? Anything about Aetherlings, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think especially with a 20+, you start what I think would be commonly known amongst fishermen is a tall tale challenge or a tall tale fight. People are kind of trying to one-up each other. And so it very quickly gets into the realm of, not me, but like, I know a guy. And certain like fights of like, that's not true. You know that Greg is full of shit, or like whatever the person's name is. So you do collect a few things.
Old Greg.
Yeah, Old Greg. It's just the name that's on the top of my brain right now, I guess. But yeah, it's probably more like a brook or other again very natural object names here. But yeah, you do hear a few things. For one, it is hotly debated here of humanoid aetherlings that look like a person, and you do hear of one person there. He's like, no, there was. Started as a shadow, but as it got closer to me and I had to run, it was not great. I was in this dungeon as I was running, and as this thing was fighting me and I barely got away, it became more and more like me, which was weird and terrifying. It started talking like me. At first it was kind of my voice, and then more my voice, and then it started using phrases. Honestly, if Brooke here didn't come at the time he did, I would have been in one of the guys that is oh yeah. And you can see this is a guy that most people don't use their fishing rod as a weapon, but he clearly has got the brawny arms of someone who can hit shit real hard.
His fishing rod's made of steel.
Yeah, is the kind of guy that he will pull up a whole shark and then also maybe bludgeon it into unconsciousness, with his fists. Is a real tough looking old dude. He's yeah, that was creepy. Honestly, if the face of it hadn't still been kinda, I don't know, wobbly, I wouldn't have known which one was which and which face to punch.
Fair enough. Must have been terrifying.
Yeah, and you don't hear much stories about that, but that's the most clearly definitive of yeah, that thing was gonna replace him. And there's other people saying, oh, I've heard stories about that too, something like that. But it's kind of not as confirmed, and also. Oof. I think because you're asking also people disappearing, it's almost specifically no one above the status of a fisherman has had that happen to them. And not just you don't hear about it, but several of them are oh yeah, I swear to you that when one of the politicians came along, we had nothing show up. Nothing dangerous at all. It was just smooth sailing. It's
okay.
You get the sense, and I think that Cam kind of has a sense of what is really a tall tale and what seems plausible with this kind of gather information, and especially your experience with usually aetherlings are no respecter of persons. They show up because they are here to kill something, not because you are easy target or because you're famous.
Yeah,
it's weird that there's a lot less for it seems like any of the politicians.
Okay. Is it specific politicians, or for them is it just politicians?
I don't know that these people make
a don't really
difference
care
between them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
I would. I do think that it'd be interesting if you also just gave me a roll for gain insight if I can pick one or two of those questions, because I think this would be relevant right now.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I'll do this.
What's ever your most magic-related skill, I think, if you're going to use one.
Okay, I'll do one with the world then.
Yeah, that's also good. Most of your skills are at 2, so I don't know that's much of a difference. Yeah, you go with it.
Alright, that'll be a 18.
Yeah, so you were not really looking for this question when you, and definitely not from this source as you're looking around, but you feel in your fishing rod, you feel it's into the aether from where you're sitting. This is right on the boundary in the most porous place. And because you're normally so calm, I think you feel something press just lightly against the realm, and specifically against you, as they're saying, oh yeah, the politicians aren't getting involved. It seems strange, it is trying to, I don't know, distract you from that answer. It's trying to maybe contradict it. Something doesn't like you knowing that. I think the thing that you know that has happened recently, and you just sense it, is none of the politicians these people know, at least, are being replaced. And in fact, politicians are not the most useful person to replace here.
Mm-hmm.
I think they already have this conflict. Cam, you've been around the block a few times. You've been in this realm before. You know vaguely, like, the news. You don't really pay attention, but enough to be like, yeah, they're always debating this. It has to be something else that's sort of tipping it over.
Right, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that's, I think, what you learn here. And so,
All right.
we won't have to go fully round robin if one of the other two of you have a more interesting point to start, but Cam, you can, like, send that to the group. I don't know. You've been lectured several times to keep your phone on you, so...
Yeah. So I think at this point, with that information, I'll probably, in shorthand, or not even shorthand, just fully typed out, he'll say basically the information that he gathered about, there's eyewitness testimony of Aetherlings, like, being able to replace people and, like, try and turn into them, and then also this thing about these weird Aetherling attacks, and, like, the lack of them with certain people. He'll send that over, and then at the end go, let me know if you need me back at the party. I'm good here. And he'll order another drink.
The four of you do get this message somewhere in the middle of these actions. We're not going to be too strict with timelines here. And to remind you, two of you, Kana and Maeve, you're heading towards the warriors. You have Mayor Dusk. You're sort of helping get him away from the politicians he doesn't want to talk to. The other two of you, of Ajax and Hayes, I'm trying so hard to keep names straight. This is the most names I've had to ever juggle in my fucking life. You are dealing with the two mages, and you're sort of learning more about them. You are mostly engaged right now with Gregory, but Vanity is hot on your heels. So whoever thinks that they have a thing to do between those two situations first, we'll let you go.
I'm okay either way.
I mean,
Then you
same.
go first.
yeah, let's hand it back to the nerds.
Hell yeah.
All right.
But yeah, Ajax, you're sort of pressing Gregory, and you understand that he knows at least, like, the traditionalist things that, like, how you build a realm. But this isn't exactly a traditionalist situation. This is older than traditional. This is someone hacked this together in desperation and has accidentally become, like, weirdly perfect.
Yeah. Ajax would probably actually using the machine in his pack actually pull up, like, a simulation of a realm and, like, in real time as he's talking,
Start debating this man.
talking with it.
Yeah.
As he's talking and debating with him, actually, like, try and manipulate this little realm space in the ways that he's talking about. And being
I like that.
And, like, have, like gauges up and, like, a little hologram underneath it. Yeah, but if you did that, then the energy requirements jump up exponentially. And
Okay,
more doing that will only lead
I know
to
what role
further
you're doing.
abilities.
You're gonna have to roll me a convince, but you have one disadvantage, so reduce the d6 by 1, because you have insulted this man. He doesn't like you. But this is a real cool
Fair
thing.
enough.
This is a real cool nerd thing, so I do think that you can...
Yeah. I'm gonna use Number Cruncher.
Yeah, I feel like
Good.
that's appropriate.
That is a 13 on the die plus the 1 for the grit, and then a 1 and a 1 for the accuracies. Unfortunately.
So what's that total?
15?
Yeah, so you only get one of those accuracies because you have the disadvantage, so it doesn't matter, they're both ones. But 15, so he will not...
Cruncher is level 3, or rank 3.
Oh, never mind then. I was wrong, but it still is the same number. So that's a regular hit. They won't do it unless you give up any leverage over them. And you can see he's like, doesn't want to engage with you on this because he feels like you're testing him rather than engaging him. So I think that, like, I don't know exactly how to do this conversationally, but I think that you're effectively going to have to stop thinking of him as someone who doesn't know what he's doing and actually like engage with him on this topic and
someone
sort
who
of drop
actually-
that part. Otherwise, he's not gonna
Yeah.
do it.
The more Ajax like interacts with them, they will absolutely probably gain that, or at least see that of just like,
Yeah,
oh, you actually know what you're talking about, and
yeah.
like even work with them at least a little bit of like trying to understand what they are wanting to do and how to understand the deeper levels of what they would be trying to do.
I think you find, and because you rolled really well on the gain insight previously with like follow-up questions and everything, you get the deeper understanding. He knows what he's talking about. Just what he wants to do is not better than what they have. It's just different. Like each realm will get their own thing, but they'll have to keep like the same like trade agreements if they want it to work. And it is going to be complicated. It's theoretically possible, and that's interesting. But the big question is, but why though? They already have all the things he's proposing. I think almost more importantly, like he knows how to get into these technical details, but you see, he understands that nobody actually cares about those technical details. They just want assurances from a very smart man that it'll work. You do find like flaws in some of his math, but they're not like flaws as in he's like messing up, but more of like, well, we don't know exactly how this is going to work. The simulation says this, but this is the variance. Like he can get into that nitty gritty with you.
Yeah, and
but you do get his like begrudging respect by the time you're done with this.
Yeah.
I think Ajax learns a few things from him. So.
Yeah, I think Ajax would absolutely, at least at some point, like tell them that I'm glad we were able to discuss in this level of detail. You have cleared up a lot of my doubts when it comes to the caliber of wizard attempting this.
He grunts a bit, but he's, well, I guess I can't begrudge a beacon for trying to make sure a realm is safe. It's a very impressive realm math that you can do. Definitely there's some things you should read up on. I can recommend some, and he lists off some extra like studies and papers that are like helpful for Ajax to. So he does know a little more of the. You just understand in a more innate way than him how it works, so you can simulate it really well. But he also has like a lot of papers he recommends us.
Alrighty, yeah.
But honestly,
Ajax will absolutely write those down. And if he can find an like through like the magic
interspell,
web, just like
the
interspell of just like, oh, there's an ebook for that, yoink.
Yeah. Oh, you can start reading it now. That's not really important. But he does say, I would. Although if I were you, I would check more on and gestures to patience, or not patient, Vanity Nuwa, the other mage involved with this, who I would love to step to that during this conversation. I'm assuming Hayes is about to engage with him. And you're effectively back to back. Like you can just like body block him from getting in Ajax's way here.
Yeah, I think Hayes will like kind of eagerly like extend a hand. Hayes Yoon, I heard you're the spirit shaper involved in the petal separation plan?
Yeah, Vanity, again, is this like gray-furred, very slim beast folk. He has these very striking yellow eyes, which narrow slightly, and he's like, yes, Hayes, the spirit caller of the beacons. I'm Vanity. As you say, I'm Vanity. I wouldn't say I'm the only mage. You've met my colleague, and I'm from our school of spirit callers here, as opposed to, I believe, your aunt, who is from New Avalon spirit callers. It's quite
absolutely
interesting that she's advancing their knowledge of such matters. I don't have to roll insight. That interesting is basically interesting parentheses derogatory.
Understood. Hayes is gonna just let that sail over their head a little bit, perhaps, or just not acknowledge it. And they're gonna. I'm just approaching this like trying to out nice his mien, basically. Hayes is really curious about how spirit shaping has to do with the separation of the realms, or what,
Okay.
how his knowledge has lended to his role in this project. Whether it's
Yeah,
just
I
like
think you can
because he has
ask him that
connections,
without. Yeah, sorry.
or if it's actually related to the type of magic that he practices. Because
Yeah,
as like
I
a
think you
full spirit
can.
caller, I'm like, how does this work? How does this have to do with what we do?
Yeah, so I don't think we have to roll for this because this is something he'll just say. You quickly, you're asking like, oh, it's interesting you're involved with that. Why is like that the basics of that?
Yeah, like what is the intersection of the spirit shaping magic with the realm crystal, perhaps?
Yeah, you ask, he's like, well, I'm sure you're familiar of your ability as a spirit caller and spirit shaper to sense the aether and aetherlings.
Certainly.
I heard done so on many occasions. The wizards will never let you know that they need our help for such a thing, but it's a... And he sort of looks... The realm is a living thing. It is not some dull contraption of sigils and mana. You have to feel where it hurts. You have to feel where it expands and what its shape is. And you can find the weak points before a wizard would ever calculate them. And he sort of smirks a bit, and besides, they will need us if things go even slightly wrong to prevent aetherlings from overrunning them.
If things go slightly wrong, that's a ball rolling down a hill, isn't it?
That's why we need someone there to hold it up.
See.
Was there something like deeper you wanted to get out of the conversation? Because then we maybe do a roll.
That's coming to mind right now. What he said makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And we'll continue the conversation a little bit more, see if there's something comes up. But I do apologize. That's not really why I wanted to talk to you as one of the beacons.
Understood.
I'm more curious as to why you are involved here. This is not a matter of life or death. There's no invasion of creatures or foreign realms. This is a change, something I thought beacons were agents of. At least historically.
And perhaps that is why we have been summoned here.
Then you're on my side. The side of history.
Let me think here. Let me think here.
Weird way to frame that.
I wouldn't necessarily say I'm on one side or the other. The beacons are simply well, perhaps it's cynical, but I think most of it is the allure of celebrity.
The reason why you're here, well, that's more than fair. I've been called a cynical man myself. But I do believe you are on the side of history. I don't know how familiar you are with the history of the Petals, but it is simply a history of one prospering while another falters. The balance changes, the players shift. But there's never a time where we all do well. It's why Mayor Dusk over there gestures to your friends who are distracting him. It's why Mayor Dusk over there is unsure his realm does poorly now. It seems New Avalon is too prosperous to be a trading partner when it comes to something as basic as food. It's also, I think, distractingly, why two of the other mayors wish to leave. Mayor Dawn, Mayor Patience, both do quite well with New Avalon as rivals in art and in magic. They don't want to be held down by the other petals that slow their progress. And I don't disagree. I don't believe that we have been good for each other. Perhaps that is because I am a cynical man.
Perhaps.
Yeah, you'll remember that he considers himself a historian, and he does seem to have some opinions on that matter.
Yeah, Hayes is
know
just
a
gonna
little bit
continue to
too
be
much about World
non-committal
War II.
because Hayes does not know enough about history to make a strong argument here. Most
Yeah.
certainly.
If
Especially
there's
having grown up
you
in
would
New
make-
Avalon.
Yeah. Well, if there was a goal you had in making a strong argument that could like line up with a narrative role, say, I would be more than happy to sort of feed you a little bit on like what that argument would be, depending on how good your role is.
Well, I'm curious, maybe this is more of like a high level question, but so my understanding is that he's saying the radiant and vibrant petals are currently prosperous, and they think they could be more prosperous if they were separate.
Yeah, effectively. That like the bountiful petal isn't doing as well, and the vibrant and radiant ones think they could do better if they weren't.
Right, if they didn't have
Like,
to.
Yeah, like the reason the petals have
the
worked
bountiful
as a
petal
society,
afloat.
yeah, is that they effectively subsidize would be the word that comes to mind each other when it comes to like magical power and resources, and just
Right.
even with like a basic understanding, like yeah, sometimes other petals do better than others. At one time, the lush petal wasn't doing as well because just magical like plant components weren't as useful until like New Avalon started finding a use for them, and suddenly they became quite prosperous.
Right. I think then Hayes will point out this question of, before this age of art being celebrated, the other petals supported the vibrant petal, so it is only just and fair that the petals support one another, like it's not really just for the vibrant petal to step out now that it feels like it's gotten too big. Bit like bigger
Okay.
than its wishes, right? Like,
So do you think then you're trying to
Did he?
convince this man, or are you trying to like find out something about him with this?
I would like to see if he will reveal anything about Patience's standing on the whole issue.
Okay, yeah. Then that's probably a gain insight. If you want to roll me that.
Word. Let me look at
What skills?
Could I? Oh wait, I'm on the wrong sheet. My bad. Sorry, Lucian. I just used your.
I bet
No worries.
empathetic ear probably would work.
Yeah, I was gonna say empathetic ear potentially.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I got D20, D6, D6. How is a 20? A 21 plus grade.
Okay. Yeah. So you can ask two of those following questions and then a follow-up.
Cool. So I'm curious, who is really in charge of the plan? Is it
Okay.
Patience, or is it one of the people that's like constructed the science behind it?
Yeah. And
And
then,
then-
yeah. Sorry. What's the other one?
How can I instill doubt in the
In this plan?
In Dawn. I'm curious.
Interesting. Yeah, that's perfect. So you're asking him. It's like, well, isn't it right that they support each other? Well, politics is rarely about what's right. It's about what people and what they want is to not be bothered with each other. Hell, even Dusk himself, I think, doesn't want to be bothered by the rules that other realms place on them. I think that perhaps he can do better without soul callers such as ourselves, or artists, or engineers like your friend there from telling him what they should or shouldn't do. Perhaps they, as farmers, are better suited. And so I think the answer of the first one is sort of what he says next is, that's why I've pursued this goal for a while now. It's why I've proposed this plan for separating. It's been so many times they have debated doing so. It's never gone very far. It's been quite a moot point without an intricate plan, one that would actually work. So I am grateful for my friend Gregory there, gesturing behind you.
I see.
While I can definitely tell him the shape that they must take, he's the one who can actually make it happen.
Indeed.
And I will say, it's probably more insight you don't have to have him say about Dusk, but I mean, Hayes, you understand that he's not restricted by the other Petals and what he can do. He
Right.
simply has to get them to believe that what he needs and what he thinks will, or not he, but like his people thinks is the best way forward for his Petal, will benefit everyone.
Right.
Because it is about what people agree to do. That's what politics is. It's a popularity contest. But also, like, I think that you could believe that they would understand that a farmer knows more about farming.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it's a simplification.
Yeah, metaphor. Now, I don't want to leave this space if you two have anything else you would like to add.
So just to double check,
Yeah.
like so Vanity is in charge of the plan for like.
Yeah, effectively, it is Vanity's plan that he has presented. Just he's presented it to two of the mayors who are already a little bit like, yeah, we don't need the rest of them.
Okay, and he presented it to Dawn and Patience.
Patience.
Yes. It's unclear. You don't know for sure which one was first, but he's presented to both of them. They're both like in on it because of that. And Patience does seem to be the one who has for a longer time been like, this is a thing you should do.
Okay, and then how to instill doubt in Dawn. The answer to that was.
So yeah, Dusk. Dusk is.
Oh yeah.
He could be. Dusk could be convinced that he doesn't have to separate if he can simply convince the other like mayors, like, hey, this is a policy change we should make. Like he probably has ideas as to how to do this if he wants to separate and do them on his own. It's just a matter of the other mayors doing that to help his Petal, allowing it effectively.
I see.
Okay. Okay.
That
I
also
can't
makes sense because
think
it
of
seems
any
like he's
questions
a.
or-
He seems like a route of least resistance kind of person, honestly.
Well, you know,
Just like resistance.
you understand because he cares about, who, Dusk?
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like he cares about his people. He just wants
Right,
things
yeah.
to go well. But anyways, that's sort of what you learned. Was there anything else in the scene you guys wanted to do?
Nothing for me.
Because I'm really interested in, Kana, you're being introduced to the other Guardians. There are, math in my head, 5 times 7.
I also had sorry.
Oh, hey.
The only thing I was gonna do was just gain a little bit of information on
Yeah.
Dusklau, but we can do that whenever. It's just getting to know what his perspective is and then comparing that to the others.
Well, I do think there's, like, that's going to be interesting happening while Kana is sort of engaging with this. It's an interesting background, I think, because Kana, you are by far the most famous of the, like, warriors here. And even as you approach, Thorn does sort of a step forward. Is like, ah, yes, Kana. I believe I promised you a sparring match. And
Thorn,
the
yes.
other,
I recall meeting you earlier.
he tries to hide the fact that he's upset you are like only kind of remember him. He thought he made an impression.
He's not doing it
but
on
that's
purpose.
important.
He's just a bit of an asshole sometimes.
Yeah. He's like, well, yes, you should meet some of my friends here. And he introduces you to several of these other guardians. You find that there are 7 for each realm. There's 1 for the Crystal Palace, and then 1 for each of the bridges on their side. And they seem to have a pretty like tight camaraderie. Each one is almost paired with the one from the same bridge on the other petal. And you, I think, pretty easily, Kana, can sort of like gel with these guys. They also have a lot more of like sizable appetizers in this space that
Yeah, I
are
think it's-
meaty.
I think it's a bit of a mix. I think on one hand, yeah, I think Kana absolutely like fits in and like finds himself like comfortable amongst these people and like, you know, introducing himself to them and like watching all their motions and weighing all their arm, you know, metaphorically as it were.
Yeah.
But I think, and I don't know if you voiced this, but I think
Yeah.
beneath that there is I guess a recognition of what it looks like to see like, you know, a circle of knights, a circle of equals who have the same view of combat and martial prowess and training, and to see that like that fraternity bond amongst them. And I think he's not uncomfortable in it, but is not used to it. It's not a thing he's ever really he's seen it before. He's seen it at home, certainly.
Yeah.
But I think he's exposed to it in a weird way for the first time and is weighing that in his head. But otherwise,
Yeah,
it's, you know,
it's seeing something that you have been on the inside of before from the outside in a new perspective is probably almost distancing.
yeah,
him, for him.
it's definitely that, and I think it's that, but it's also recognizing that like while Kana's been on the inside of circles like these arguably all his life, or at least most of his life, he's never really felt part of one. Like, sure, he's been surrounded by warriors, but at home he was always unique amongst Kadrase, and everywhere he traveled, he was always this, you know, special, unique, one of a kind or rare occurrence. And so I think to just see comrades amongst themselves, people who have grown comfortable amongst each other, even in the spirit of combat, is something he's still reckoning, I suppose.
Sure. And yeah, I think that's an interesting perspective because, like, where Kana's from, the Alt Isles, yes, every warrior has a unique weapon, but they all definitely approach combat in a similar way, it sounds like. And I think that you would recognize that amongst these guardians, it is seen as important for each person to have a unique way to go at it. I think that's why you're like, oh, these people all fit in, and they are all kind of like me, but I am not one of them.
Yeah.
And the same way I wasn't one of this previous group of like my home, like the warriors I learned from, but I am not like that. Like that's like it would be very obvious to Kana in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I find that fascinating. I will say that like, and during this, Thorn does, but no, Kana, I'm serious. We have what we would consider a polite kind of duel that is common at parties. If you would do me the honor.
I could use the distraction. I would be honored.
Yeah. And yeah, you see one of the like several of the bountiful petal guardians that you have actually met and been introduced to. They're like, oh yeah, let's clear these tables. They seem like excited to see this. Apparently they find Thorn to be like a close friend of them, almost more so than his own petal. And they move these tables, and there's a moment in other party goers like politely watching that one of the bountiful petal people, the guardian, sort of raises their hand up, and you feel them surge through the ground, and it's like a stump, but it's like 10 feet wide, and there's clear markings on it. And Thorn explains the point of this, we call it a polite duel, is with using whatever weapons we can, but without striking each other's bodies. We must push each other out. the last one standing in the ring wins. He says this as he walks onto this platform. He waves his hand. He has been wearing a vibrantly red and pink robe. As he waves his hand, the spear you've seen previously, this sort of twisted double-pronged spear, appears in his hand, and armor fits perfectly into the folds of this robe, grows under him as he becomes covered in wooden armor. But, do you understand?
I certainly believe I do. My mother once told me I learned best by doing.
Ha! Your mother sounds like a wonderful woman to meet. And he brandishes his spear. You can roll to do conflict to see how well you do in this, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the meantime... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, please.
I was going to say, in the meantime, Maeve, this is what's happening while you try and get more information, or understand Dusk better. Is Kana's having this duel in the background. You seem that Mayor Dusk is he seems to enjoy this sort of thing. He seems more comfortable, honestly, here.
Well, once we're over at the bar, I'll say, what's your poison?
He's watching. You know, once it would have been something strong, but I have come
Arsenic?
to enjoy.
I'm just kidding.
Ha! It's like, no, but now I think I've unfortunately in my older age become more of a wine person.
Red or white?
He's like, here. He, to the bar, is like, if you can get, I can't think of a good name off the top of my head. But yeah, I think it is a rose vintage is what it's called. And it's, you don't know a lot about like flowers, I would assume. But I think
Not
you
too
understand
much,
that roses aren't supposed to have like fruit.
Yeah.
Grapes and roses, two separate things. What comes out, this bottle has what looks like a grapevine that has roses and thorns. Like it's like a mix of the two plants into one thing, and it's like a little wreath around the side of it, like actively growing. It's like, we like to show people what they are buying before it becomes a drink. And you see Dusk sort of, he makes a gesture, and then the vine like goes up around his thumb so that he can pop the cork out with one of the thorns of it. And this is one of the vintages we make in our bountiful petal.
That's a nice
Busy.
trick. 1 and 2, you're a vintner then.
Well, I'm the mayor. I simply have to make the vintners happy. And as he pours, like, and also the farmers, and also the cattle ranchers, and also, you understand politics. And
I do. I'm sure there's lots of opportunity for expanding one's own portfolio, of course, within the means and boundaries of ethics.
The politics you've experienced must be far different from ours. It's not a portfolio, it's, I don't know, voters? It seems like the cynical word, if you were being cynical, but I'm not making money from this, I am making my realm happy. I'm keeping it stable. People need jobs, people need fulfillment in life. All they really want is a warm place to sleep, a job to do, and success when doing it. And it's surprisingly difficult to get all of those things across 5 different realms amongst a sea of them.
What you're describing sounds an awfully lot like a utopia, and beg pardon, but no one here is entirely philanthropic. At least, not to my understanding. That is a concept that is mostly foreign. Where I come from, the politics are all about making money, and though I don't personally, I'm not inclined to acquiesce to the general Pirates of the Caribbean reference.
Yeah. Well, I can see why you'd think that. Although the realm you come from sounds strange. Did you know the term utopia means no place? It was always meant to be impossible. It's a term that doesn't mean reality, it's aspirations. We don't squabble over money. It's still part of trade, but it's not the thing that we're searching for. And it's still not possible to reach that utopia, even without that, because it's not a destination. It's what you strive for constantly. And so each realm will try to become more wealthy, but more prosperous, more influential, more many things. It's spinning many plates constantly, and I only get to have one of them out of 5 out of hundreds.
I must say, I am genuinely impressed. You seem to have passed my personal set of standards, my own personal test, because you immediately deflected away from Utopia and immediately began talking about Protopia, which is an ideal that many of my own comrades from my own homeland, where I'm from, engage in quite frequently, but it is considered illegal in most cases, taboo where I'm from. If there's no money in it, the corporate necrolords want nothing to do with it. So they shut it down, or they integrate it, or they buy it out, or they just simply eradicate any and all competition. But what you're describing, if genuine, seems like someplace I would very much like to spend more time. So, what is it exactly that you... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, he laughs out loud. I was like... and the sentiment you've heard many times, like, where you come from sounds like a terrible place, but if you want to see what it's like, and he just gestures around. People still compete. People still try and one-up each other. We're just not worried about, does it make money? My realm, all our realms would collapse if it was all about just money. You know the number of public projects we make just to keep everyone else happy that doesn't run a business?
You should come speak in my homeland, but we would have to get you some protection, and we would have to hotwire you into the video feeds. But once we, I'm sorry, I lost you.
Yeah. Hunter's like, hot wire? Like he doesn't understand, and he laughs about it. I would love
That's
a
all
roll
right.
from Kana to see how is the duel going in the background.
I got
Do you want to make this a
14.
complex one? 14. Okay, that's definitely a pass. And do we want to use just make conflict probably, or
that was
overcome? Okay. Yeah, let's do make conflict. You can choose one benefit and one cost.
Already got them figured out. I think my benefit is I'll leave an impression of my choice on the opposition. Still trying to decide on what that is.
Sure.
But I think it's definitely just like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this kid's not a fucking joke. Like, this kid holds up
and
to
then,
his, to his principles, I guess, or to the,
Yeah.
The rumors about him have not been exaggerated. In fact, they may have been the opposite.
They might have been underplayed.
Exactly. But I think I'm playing, a bit of anime of the whole, when two warriors meet blades, they understand each other. But I think the impression he also gets is that underneath a lot of, I won't even call it, bravado, but the cavalier persona, Kana is profoundly alone.
I find that interesting. Yeah. And then what would be the cost, you think?
And I think it's not so much that this happens from the duel, I imagine, but I think it's more that Kana is also reckoning with his loneliness. I'm gonna take Shaken. I will destroy one of my techniques.
Okay. That is interesting. So yeah, it is during this fight, Thorn, and you get this sense again from two warriors meeting combat. Thorn is confident and is not a pushover. Like he has serious power behind him, but is deeply impressed. He has his spear and he is shortened to the perfect length for this, and he is using this one weapon so precisely, so deftly that you are pressed to defend yourself, but you also can switch to the perfect weapon for any situation.
Yeah,
and you can tell he is greatly impressed by the fluidity at which you can do these things, the depth of understanding of the strengths and weaknesses of each weapon. But it's through this he is energized by his teammates and his rivals that he knows cheering him on and you on. Two of the bountiful protectors cheer you more than him. Like they want him to lose, maybe. And he gets that sense that you are possibly not, Kana's probably not as affected in the same way. Like he doesn't recognize this as much, maybe.
Yeah, no, I think he's just single-mindedly focused in the fight, and I think he primarily is going to fight and respond by using his blood pike, sort of like a long two-handed pole arm with an ornament, like sort of like curved like edge at the top.
Yeah.
And I think that he I think after the fight, after he there's a lot of slowly shoving and meeting his weapon where it is, and I think eventually it's a matter of not so much technique, but more just kind of leveraging his height and his ability to move with that height, that he kind of is able to kind of get inside. And I think it's actually, I think it's gonna be the thing that gets kind of the win is that he kind of shifts inside of his guard with the blood pike in one hand and just shoves him with the with the hand. Again, because the rules were our weapons couldn't touch each other's bodies. Didn't say our hands couldn't.
Oh yeah.
So kind of just gonna.
No, I think it's
just gonna
100%
shove him as hard as he can, and then after he kind of looking at him, spin the polearm some and just your weapon. It is impressive. I hope it has a story as long as yours is.
You push him and he backflips and does land on his feet, but outside of the circle. I think you even see some of basically rose bushes grow up beneath his feet to sort of catch him at this right pose. And as he does, the spear lengthens to its full length so he can hold it like a staff. And he's like, "It is the spear of my father, and his father before him. It probably has about as long of a story as you do from your long-lived folk. It is an honor to face you. No, it's fine.
Oh, you're fine. That's all I said.
He's like, well, I'm honored to be a part of it." And he, the spear goes away, the armor goes away, and he gives a polite bow deeper than any of the other politicians or people you've met have given you. He says, "And now the winner, traditionally, gets to pick what drink the loser must drink. Come on." And he is going to take you to the bar. And made from your perch, Dusk is pleased with the outcome, but you think he's just pleased with seeing this excellent skill of kind of understanding the rules better than he was explained to him of hands and being able to push.
I have a quick moment before we go off for the drink. I think after he kind of
sure
mentions the spear being passed down from generations, I think kind of
sure.
Spins his blood pike somewhat and looks at it before he had to dissipate to bursts of hard light, and just, that's an impressive tale. An ancestor of mine once wielded the great sword of liberation in the Great War. None have seen it since. I wonder what a weapon it would be to wield. He looks up and kind of looks around at all the various characters and just, you are all a wonderful circle of comrades. A circle of equals. And he kind of steps down. Unfortunately, it would seem as if I have no equals.
I do think it's Thorn shows an amount of tenderness is the wrong word, but consideration he hasn't before. Is you are maybe peerless, but we would be honored to consider you one of our own. After, of course, a little bit of hazel. Go on.
And this is going to be very interesting because Anna's never drank.
Yeah. Well, you get to pick what he drinks, and then we'll see what they try and get you to do. I don't know.
I think he's going to see someone as they walk over to the bar, someone puts down just an elaborate looking dramatic drink of some kind. And he just one of those. Two actually.
He pauses and is in his head. I don't know that Kana would know this, but I think that we can tell. Maybe they were in the background starting to try and find something weird. They're usually it's make a gross thing, and I think Kana's probably accidentally picked one of the most alcoholic drinks because the elaborate ones always are. They taste good and will put you out. And he's like, well, it's the rules. I think one of the guys behind him's like, yeah, it's the rules. He gets to pick.
Rules are rules.
Yeah, you are served. It's not like a paradise drink, but it is still complicated. It is a multi-layered drink that goes from a dark green to clear. It's got several different herbs in it. It's a pretty earthy is almost the word I'd use. It's like very aromatic, and it is pretty hard, but it's not like overly sweet.
Camera follows Thorn, kind of like weighing it for a bit. You know, the way when it's like you're like your fourth drink in, and you're like, all right, gotta take this one nice and slow, all right, and like follows him taking a nice hard sip, looks over, Kana's just slamming his nose down empty, and gives a loud burp.
I think that more than anything Kana has done, and they've been impressed, they've cheered, they've been like, that's cool. This stuns them. They're all like,
So Kana, you are a
Kana,
warrior
you
without
can
fear.
in fact be peerless. Yeah, exactly. Same brain cell. We're just bouncing it back and forth. But yeah, I'm gonna say that if the other two here at this party wanted to convey information or sort of come in on dusk. I keep doing that. Come in on dusk as like, I'm gonna let you guys maybe try and convince him or continue the conversation with Maeve, but I think that we can all involve in this moment here.
Yeah, just to segue everyone in, I would say, this is a great opportunity to introduce you to the rest of our Pigeons. Also, by the way, how is the wine? Is it good?
Yes, I mean this is the fancy stuff, and technically how expensive it is doesn't actually help like with how good it is. It turns out it's hard to actually tell the difference between boxed wine and really fancy bottled wine if it's the same vintage or like the same type of wine, but not important. It is really good. Like he does seem to know what he's talking about with the wines that he gets. If you like a red, and it is a very rich, earthy red.
Yeah, this is delicious. This is really quality stuff. But yes, these are the rest of our Pigeons, and we all genuinely, as I said, in all sincerity, we do genuinely want to hear about your thoughts on whether to keep the realms together or separate them apart. That's part of our job here, to just really listen.
Mm-hmm. He greets the other two of you by name of Hayes and Ajax. He, again, like everyone here, has gotten reports on who you are and your dealers. He's like, and I believe Cam was here earlier. I did see him. The Anselm's good friend.
Yes, he was preoccupied with another assignment. Hayes will bow in acknowledgement and say, "Good to meet you, Mayor Lau."
Yes, it is fascinating to meet you as well. I've been looking forward to it when we were told you were coming. 5 beacons at once is monumentous. And as for my thoughts of separating, I've told my colleagues that I am unsure. And I do mean it. It's frustrating dealing with them. So you could imagine maybe not wanting to have to deal with it for much more.
Indeed.
With everyone betting and buying for any bit of your time and or mind, it only makes sense that it is draining.
Yes, that it is. He looks over the Guardians as, I entered politics through that. As they're sort of like jostling each other, and they're, still polite, but still very much the way that like a bunch of athletes are together. It's like, I was once a guardian of the Crystal Palace. It was a good time. So, out of character, which one of you guys wants to sort of? Because I assume the goal is we got to convince him not to leave, right? That's the bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
I would be interested into who, starts that. Who's gonna roll for this? Who is sort of taking point on?
I mean, I hate to
convincing him.
be that person, but it literally has to be Hayes, right?
Oh,
This is your
I don't wanna
ancestral home.
volunteer, Hayes.
Does it?
Yeah.
Maybe.
You've been voluntold.
Yeah,
it's
okay,
your
that's
ancestral
fair.
home. I feel like if
That's
anybody's
fair.
supposed to, this feels like your moment,
If anybody has a deeper tie, it's definitely
Exactly,
not gonna be anybody but Hayes.
Exactly.
Okay, Reasonable, reasonable. Good point, good
You
point.
know what would be kind of funny if Ajax like taps Hayes on the back and she's like, "This is your time.
You're up.
Speak."
You're up, kid.
Yeah, I think it's like during just a little
Yeah,
more
but-
small talk, Ajax like do the thing. Yeah, so I'm perfectly fine if you want to roll first the convince. I honestly almost want to make this a complex. What's it called?
A skill challenge where we need multiple successes, basically. Complex
Yeah,
challenge,
skill challenge. Thank you. That's
So yeah,
But
so we're gonna need 3 of them. So I think all 3 of you can make a different roll. Effectively, yeah, I'm looking at the specific rolls, but there's gonna be 3 rolls, and we're trying to get success in.
I could save you on this one because I actually
Multiple.
know how these work. It's pretty simple. It's literally just, I mean, you
Perfect.
basically have it. It's literally just like, you tell us what the challenge is and like what obstacles might be present for us to deal with or how we can approach it if there's anything. We roll skill checks. You tell us how many successes we need in order to get through the thing, which you just told us is 3. And then we roll stuff. You did it. That's it. You did it perfectly, boss.
So yeah, there's 4 of you. I'll even say I'll let Cam. No, Cam's doing a different thing. This is a completely separate bit.
Cam's busy.
That boy gone
Yeah,
fishing.
With a fishing rod in one hand
on
and
fishing.
a rocks glass in the other.
Yeah.
He is gathering information the best way possible.
Exactly.
Yeah, so between the 4 of you, you can each roll a convince, and if we get 3 successes, then
Could I use Upholder of Magnolian Tradition here?
yeah, absolutely.
Sick. Oh, that's not too hot. That is, let me math, 7 for me.
Uh-oh.
7.
That's a no. That is a miss.
And then now we haven't done this much, but we also have titles, and I'm trying to remember what you do when you add a title.
I think your title either gives you a flat bonus or a reroll, and I'm going to double check that right now. I'm on it. Keep figuring things out.
Well, because I was gonna say you don't have to have all 4 of you roll. If one of you wants to help with this roll and evoke your title as well, if you think that it is feasible.
Yeah,
You get a +2 to the roll when you invoke your title.
+2.
Yeah,
Because with 7, it just takes a +3 to get that to a 10.
I'm gonna offer
Yeah,
my
and the
help
whole
here.
point of the whole point of everything I just did was to be able to give somebody else help to get the information they wanted, because Maeve was new to all this, so hopefully that whole everything to loosen people up will have the effect, so she'll help if she can.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to play with that because you're supposed to evoke your title. As the Night Terror, you have presented a potential like system that doesn't rely on other people that you are from in a way that is maybe giving him pause of the idea of separating. Like you presented like everyone out for themselves this system. I think that's maybe the help that you are evoking here.
Okay.
If that vibes.
Yeah, that and just loosening them up with talk and laughter
Yeah.
and drinks, like combined with everything.
Yeah,
So cascading.
It's very pleasant. It is the most pleasant way that you could evoke the Night Terror, I think, possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'm interested. I'm looking for Hayes's title, the
Sapphire's Glare.
Sapphire's Glare. So yeah, I'll let you evoke it if like when we get to it, because I still want the other 2 rolls. If we get to it, how you're going to incorporate that. So think on that for a second.
I have an idea.
But I'm gonna say maybe you can still sort of roll separately because helping isn't. I'm gonna say not taking that up.
I'm gonna just invoke my Sunborn Outsider for a simple roll here. I'm just like presenting an outside
Yeah.
perspective, and maybe also
Yeah.
I think this is also possibly a little less of like Kana actively saying anything and more just like leveraging the fact that Kana seemed to appreciate himself amongst the protectors of like,
Yeah.
you know, like hey, but clearly something about this is working, and like you know, clearly these beacons are they're in their right mind, I guess. Is the thought here.
Yeah, they're very capable.
Sweet. Well, that's a 6 and a 5 with the accuracy for a total of 12. So I do get a hit there.
12, that'll hit. Yeah, that'll hit. And then Ajax and Maeve, if you 2 want to roll, see if we get the full 3.
Absolutely. I feel like Ajax is probably coming from this from a lot more of a side of like if it was to try to be done, the dangers and the risks far outweigh any of the benefits that could be gathered.
Entirely, yeah.
And so I don't know if the Trailblazer would really work, but I do think Number Cruncher would fit. It's my thought.
Yeah, go roll for it.
Alrighty. So that is, well, already a 12 on the die, plus 1 for grit, 13 plus a 6 for the accuracy.
I didn't do that math.
19.
19. All right, that's a 3, and I think that's kind of appropriate with Maeve having warmed it up. So, if you don't mind me just saying, Ajax, you've like present like your sort of opinion on that. If you want to give me like a line, what is that opinion?
Let's see. Even outside of the current situation regarding stability of, I guess, realm crystals, the difficulty in doing this, and also along with that, the orientations that the different agreements would then have to be with in between the then previous Petals is very tentative. I don't even know if that's the right word, at least.
Yeah, I think that you can say like, yeah, tentative, or like they're already at this arrangement a little like always negotiated. Separating fully, it's like, is that really going to change when your fate isn't really tied up as strongly?
Yeah,
it's like that's a good point.
Also, it's also along the fact that each petal operates largely independently of one another. It is merely the trade and the commune that is so vigorously interconnected. The government structure is, at least from what I've seen, nearly fully independent of each other petal. The laws of one does not necessarily influence that of another, which is quite remarkable.
He's like, well, it's a little more complicated, but generally, yes. I mean, I think he does look to and see Kana, like you said, as like this example, and does seem to think on that for a moment. And I would love if Maeve has anything to add before Hayes sort of tells us what her argument is. I would be interested to hear.
No, I think she will just like try to be very charming and just sort of for a second just put an arm over his shoulder and just say, thank you for sharing your wine and for opening up a little bit. You seem a genuine person, and we'll just continue to try and lighten things up along the way. I did roll. I didn't know what we were rolling. I think it was a D6, right?
Oh, it'd be
Everybody?
a D20 plus D6s still.
Just to help.
We got the 3, so it'll just be interesting to see what you get. So it's not important, but yeah, you're good.
It's 19, and if it's a +1 added, so it would be a 20.
You also don't have to
No,
roll
you
to help.
get-
Invoking your title to help is just a thing you do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You already did that. I was just saying if we needed the extra roll, we had the last one, so it looks good.
You have
then
extra if you need it.
Exactly. So, Hayes, you I think can see this sort of tipping point of he's like, well, maybe it's not that helpful, but he still seems like he might, or like it's not sure that he has fallen on your side. So I'd be interested, what would Hayes see as the real reason we should work together? Like we in the royal, like everyone. Why should we care about other people? Explain it to me.
I think Hayes sees it, at least in regards to the mayor, in a couple different ways. One, the realm crystal is of utmost importance, which I'm sure he would
Yeah.
understand as his
Yeah.
history as a guardian, right? Like that's
Mhm.
something that he would intimately understand. And then in regard to like the potential damage that Ajax described, right? Like that's
Mhm.
central to what creates the identity of the realm. But also,
Yeah.
I think Hayes is definitely absorbed from the past conversations with
Mhm. Vanity.
Vanity.
Vanity. I'm
With
sorry I've given you guys so
Vanity.
many names.
I remembered it started with a V, but I was
So
gonna say
many.
Vane. With Vanity, this idea that there are many different ways to approach the problem,
Mhm.
and that there are ways to solve the problem that the Bountiful Petal is facing that
Mhm.
require so much less than tearing the realms apart. It seems more like the other two petals are taking advantage of the Bountiful Petal, the situation in the Bountiful Petal to try to
Mhm.
sway the mayor, rather than actually
Yeah.
provide a way to help his people.
Yeah. And I think you can sort of. He knows that. Remind him of that, and you can tell he knows you can like get a new realm crystal. He can do that. That's part of the plan. He's clearly seen like their plan of doing it, and it's feasible. But you mentioning it's like they're not doing it for you; they're doing it for themselves. And you tell me if this sparks joy. But I think that you see that you can emphasize that even separated into separate realms, all of these realms that manage to know about each other and trade with each other, interact with each other, they are all in a way bound. They are all dependent on each other now. That doing this risky thing of changing this realm when it's not really going to be much different when they're separated, and not really
Yeah.
going to be much different like politically, except it's going to be harder to deal with these people, not easier. I think that's probably the thing that you really see in him is like the reason why he hasn't fully just gone with it.
Yeah, because it doesn't solve the economic hardship
Mhm.
of his petal. And if he was to agree,
I mean,
then
it might, but
he loses all of his bargaining power
yeah, and, and it
to
might help because he
potentially.
can do a lot of his own stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
he's still gonna have to deal with them. Like it's not gonna change
exactly.
that. Uh, I think you see him look around, and he's especially at these guardians, these like multiple guardians that have this brotherhood between the five realms,
Mhm.
and he. Here, I'm gonna change the music real quick. He sits and looks as we've talked about that, and he says, being one of these guardians was the best years of my life. I was happy to have that brothership, that brotherhood, that excuse me, brotherhood. It's thank you for being here, you beacons. It's remind me that we are all part of something greater, although maybe not as glamorous as what you do. I guess I'll have to deal with these other politicians for a little longer then, at least until I retire. It has been an honor to meet you all. As he bows.
I appreciate your time.
I feel like Ajax might also pipe up a little bit,
Mhm.
and also just ask like a going question. Is it not the purpose of life to embetter the path for those who have yet to walk it?
You see Dusk look at you, Ajax, and you know, I've met your builder once. I think that reminds me of him. You are correct, Ajax. That's what it should be. Despite maybe the experiences of other realms, tipping like his head to Maeve. I'm glad that we have you all to remind us of that. And I think that this is a moment we see the camera shifts, and behind Dusk is his assistant, this sort of awkward, clearly not as important like beast folk man that he's been standing there, and he turns and walks away, seemingly nervous, towards Vanity. And I think that is an excellent time for us to end this session.
Hey, so many questions.
Dun, dun,
I know you
dun.
didn't ask them. You had the whole time. You didn't even ask his
Because
name.
he was being normal, and then all of a sudden now he's
Yeah.
being sneaky.
Imagine being normal around
He was the
us.
one you said, who could I manipulate with drink and would know things? And that was him.
Yeah. Well,
His name was Peter. His name was
You didn't
Peter
use
Wu.
Peter.
He didn't think he was making any major decisions, but now that he's being all sussy, I'm like, hold on.
So Peter is the assistant of
Dusk. Yes. Anyways, I have had a wonderful time. We will do notes afterwards. I had a wonderful time with all of these players. I am so glad that y'all got to be here to see it. I am so glad I managed to mostly get the names in all these notes. Man, this has been an undertaking. Anyways, I have had a wonderful time playing. My name is Tate Washburn, and I would love for my beacons to introduce themselves if we can remember the previous order in reverse. I believe that would then start with Lucian. Tell us who you are, who you played, and any place we're going to see you next.
Shouts
Hey,
was last
I'm
the
Lucian.
outro, just saying.
That's also true. Hey, I'm Lucian. I played Cam, our fisherman. I'll be here next time. Oh, we've got some show cancellations though, so I don't know, or like temporary breaks. I'll be here next time on something in a couple weeks probably.
On here, is what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. How about Essie? You next.
Okay. Hi. Yes, I will also not be here. On the 10th is PAX East, and the 24th, I believe, is Anime Boston. I'll have to double check on that, but yeah, I'm going to conventions. We cover both of those conventions around the same time every year as content creators. So if you see us out there and want to get on the video or want us to interview anyone in particular, just to learn more about a new product or a Kickstarter or anything, you can definitely let us know. And again, Essie or Erin Spencer, my pronouns are she, her, sometimes they, and I played Maeve. And I'll be at PAX and Anime Boston. If you're there, come through, say hello.
Perfect. I realized that I'm doing reverse order by the screens, but they've moved around on my end. Because next, I believe, it looks like it's Chouse.
Hello everyone, I'm Chouse. I've played Ajax, our Machina gunslinger, and yeah, you'll most likely find me here. You will find me here next time. With scheduling and stuff, I may or may not be here next time, but don't know
We'll
yet.
see.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else? Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
Not really. This has
Cool.
been my main one place of being on the internet.
Perfect. Egg, how about you go next?
Oh, hi, I'm Emily or Eggchan. You can find me as Eggchan on the internet. And I'll be here not this upcoming Wednesday, but the Wednesday after for Jump City Sirens. That's where you can see me next. Wearing the
Yay.
same horns, because I'm horny, baby! I don't know.
Perfect.
On to you.
Cool. And Foxy, you're next. You know what's up.
What up, folks? I'm Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite Fox Philly's finest. I am all over the internet at Young Foxy. It's YUNGFOXXII. And today, I got to play Kana Alpha, the Orient Cavalier, our littlest guy with the mostest swords. It's been a great time. The next place you're going to see me is, funnily enough, right back here in a couple of days. Come back this Tuesday for another episode of Tears of Divinity Fading Chronicle, our Lancer epic saga we have been telling across 2 seasons. Last episode was rough. This episode will be sad. And then I'll be right back here again for some more stuff. Stealing Arbor, this show right here, Jump City Sirens, other things you haven't heard about yet. A lot of me happening in the future. Don't worry about it. Keep walking here in Neon Lights Roleplay. Take it away.
Absolutely perfect. Anyways, like I said, my name is Tate Washburn. You can find me at Tate the Terrific on any place I care to be found. If you find me somewhere else, no, you didn't. But what you should do is you should follow this channel's Blue Sky account at Neon Lights Roleplay, because that's where we announce all the cool stuff, and if we're going to have to cancel something or move something around. Or you join us on our Discord, where we meet and we stream, and we maybe select players for cool things like this. I have been playing everyone who isn't them, all of these wonderful players in Knights of New Avalon, and I'm really happy to have been here. I did quite like this episode, and I guess we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.